Welcome everybody to the next stage of our lower bracket round, the final part of round one of playoffs, EVOS versus Cerberus. I am Vinnie. With me today are Yulwei, as always, and special guest Jensen, known as the coach of Resurgence at the moment, former EVOS coach, and all around unbiased source of facts and opinions. So, Jensen, what have you've been keeping up with the playoffs, I assume? What are your impressions so far?
I think that this is a very interesting response. Like we see globally, you see some teams struggle to adapt to the meta, and we have to see how this shapes up, right? Because I think that this shapes up the way that these two teams play in a very interesting manner, in the way that the VCS teams respond to the global meta. Whereas we have the best team, arguably right now, GAM, they just continue to play GAM style. The other one continues to play AD carries in the mid lane. They continue to play AP junglers as well. So is this going to be a Vietnam series, or is this going to be one where we see both of these teams adapt towards playing a global meta?
All right. We are going to go into our current match, which is EVOS versus Cerberus. Now, this is EVOS's first appearance in the playoffs after coming in 5th after a pretty disappointing regular season, I would say, from what we expected. They definitely picked it up towards the end, whereas Cerberus had the complete opposite situation for their split. Sorry, I just got a large blast of volume in my ears.
Well, you say they picked it up towards the end, but if you look at the whole split, they actually started 0-4 and then won 3 series back-to-back very convincingly. We thought they were back. Then they started to lose again. It was basically just because of the scheduling, because they have to play against the good teams at the start of each round. And they went on a big losing streak. And then they played against all the bad teams at the end of the round. So honestly, if you compare round 1 and round 2 for EVOS, not that different. 3-4 in round 1, 4-3 in round 2, and the only difference was the one victory against Cerberus. Everything else played out exactly the same way.
Yeah, fair. We can quickly see a comparison of stats between the two teams, and yeah, I mean, as I was saying, Cerberus did have a very, very strong start to the split, and that really reflects in their stats, as they did fall off towards the end, and quite heavily towards the end. But we see EVOS, we see Cerberus definitely having a much more impactful stat line.
Yeah, their stats still look very impressive, especially around objectives. Still the highest Baron and Dragon percentage, still very strong around first turrets as well. And even the gold difference, a little bit surprising to me when I checked the stats. Gold difference from Cerberus still second place, only behind GAM, and just ahead of EVOS, who have a very impressive early game stat as well. The big difference here, in my opinion, is just combined kills per minute. We have one of the highest on EVOS, or from the remaining team. I think they are the highest, even higher than GAM, who are known for their explosive playstyle. EVOS even more so, almost 1 kill per minute in their games. And Cerberus down at 7th place. The only team that had less kills per minute was Percent, who was eliminated yesterday, of course. So from all the teams still playing, Cerberus is the slowest team, and the team with the lowest amount of action, the most conservative team, you could say. Maybe the least VCS team. So I'm interested to see the clash of styles today.
Yeah, Jensen, does anything particularly stand out to you across those sets?
I think this is a story of two EVOSes, right? And if I'm wearing the EVOS jersey, so I'm just gonna tell the narrative and my story from the EVOS perspective. EVOS, this is a team that I think is a story of two EVOSes, right? The Spring Split EVOS, where they had a very I would say underwhelming roster, and they exceeded expectations. They moved into summer, they acquired this big acquisition piece of Zeros, and everybody was like, okay, EVOS is going to win summer with Zeros, right? Upgraded the one role that they needed upgrading in, Zeros comes in, and then they start to falter a bit. And we can see the very slow, measured playstyle where you have 5 players working together as a team be warped in a very different sense, where now EVOS has become a Zeros team. as most teams in Euros play in, it becomes swapped around his ability to carry the game. And I think that there is an exploration that we can look at throughout the series as to how EVOS has changed from spring to summer. In spring, slow and stable. In summer, high kill, explosive. And very importantly, Zeros as the central carry of the team.
Yeah, and we've sort of seen that in the way they move around their mid laners. Because if we can throw them up, they came in with 𝗂𝗏𝗄 being their starter, as we expected from last split. But lately they've moved to putting their other two top laners, th and 𝗏1, into that mid lane position. And it seems to be working for them, doesn't it? Yulwei?
Yeah, you always have to take the EVO success story with a little bit of a grain of salt, because as I said before, their schedule was very lopsided, very much back half with only against worse teams. So they played a lot of the last few series with th and 𝗏1, but they were against pretty bad teams. I'm not super convinced by their swap of mid laners, but to be fair, 𝗂𝗏𝗄 had a very weak season so far, and th seems to be the starter today, so they're sticking to their guns and they're sticking to this new style, having a top laner play mid lane. And I mean, a team has won a title in this league with the top laner playing mid lane the whole split, so not the worst strategy ever.
Yeah,
Well, swapping a top laner into the mid lane and winning the split, now that's a strategy that I'm familiar with. But just my perspective on this role swap of sorts. At first, I'm thinking that if they're playing 𝗂𝗏𝗄, that this is going to be a team that plays a very facilitative style to Euros. But if they're going to be playing Bootmod or th in the mid lane position, then I do believe that this is EVOS having their anti-meta take on what might be perceived, right? We're going to be expecting 𝗁𝗁, we're going to be expecting Ashe, we're going to be expecting Caitlyn in this series in some form of priority. Be it we see that these champions in the bans, be it we see these champions being picked up in the picks itself. Now, once we have a better idea as to who picked which side, I think this will give us a better clue as to how each of these teams are playing. And I think for EVOS, this might be saying that, okay, we're going to play a bruiser style, an assassin style champion in the mid lane. This is going to be the likes of Camille. This is going to be the likes of 𝗁𝗏𝗏, which I think are very underrated options, even if they go for the likes of Rumble, right? They're very underrated options at answering what seems to be the boogeyman of the meta. You have an Ashe, immobile AD carry, you put a Rumble in the mid lane, you drop the equalizer on top of her, she doesn't really get to play the game. Same thing with the likes of 𝗁𝗏𝗏, you jump onto a phase, you pop the Shroud, and these champions struggle to play the game because you can avoid the zone control, and once you go in, they don't really have a target to auto-attack reliably for them to put out reliable damage.
And especially when we see th play, sorry, just one small point. With th being the starter today, I think he's better suited to also play mid lane compared to 𝗏1 maybe, because he always was a mage player, right? He played as Vladimir. He's not that far off in terms of champion pool from a mid laner, so I believe his 𝗁𝗏𝗏 was also very good, and 𝗁𝗏𝗏 can be played mid or top. We might even see some swap shenanigans there with Zeros heading towards mid lane with the bruiser champ if the matchup is good. We saw that once or twice already, so I believe it can work. I'm still not super convinced though. I need to see some more good games from EVOS against better teams.
Do you think perhaps it could be just an aspect of the top laners are more in sync with what Zeros wants to do rather than 𝗂𝗏𝗄? Because, I mean, we've seen 𝗏1 play the Twisted Fate and stuff, so he's playing those mage picks if he needs to.
True.
So perhaps that's just simply a case of we have a much more cohesive unit with these players in rather than 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏.
That's a fair point.
In terms of champion pools, when we look at the mid lane, right, when you translate over from top lane to mid lane, mages that were in the top lane, Ryze, Viktor, these are going to be options, and I do believe especially the Ryze is going to be a Vietnam special of sorts, where they're going to pick this champion, but actually in the context of EVOS, if there's a Ryze, it should be going to Zeros, where it's going to be doing the 13 CS per minute.
The main carry.
But the point I was trying to get to is that the champion aspects of mid lane that these top laners usually don't get a pick up is the likes of Azir, is the likes of Zoe. Orianna, you sometimes see them people pick that up, but it is very unlikely you see them people to all of a sudden play LeBlanc, play Zoe, play Azir. And these three champions, if you follow the global meta thinking, it seems to be at the very forefront of it. So I do believe, once again, this is EVOS having a read on the meta and them saying that we want to be playing Arena, 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗏, or these top lane champions as a very specific response to what they are predicting CS is going to be playing.
Yeah, that is definitely a way they can go about it. However, in this matchup in particular, I want to not so much focus on the mid lane against Yado. I want to look into how 𝘁 matches up against 𝘂𝗎. So both these junglers, we are playing a very supportive style, leaning towards those tanks, especially on the side of 𝘁 being one of the only ones to play Sejuani. I think someone else played a game, but 𝘁's been the main Sejuani player. How do you expect, looking at these junglers, how do you think, say, 𝘁 is going to match up into 𝘂𝗎 in particular, Jensen?
I don't really think this is going to be a very big factor in the series itself, because from my perspective, my prediction, given the fact that they're playing TH, we are going to expect some Sejuani, we're going to expect some 𝗁𝗺𝗺, and here's my, I would say, sneaky prediction, is that I do think we are going to see Skarner adaptations come out throughout the series itself, especially in the side of CES, if they have the Skarner pick ready to go into the likes of what EVS is trying to bring out. I do think it's very effective. It forces the likes of Zeros, it forces the likes of these top laners who like to play these melee champions to pay their tax, right? They like to play stacks evasion champions. Now you pick the Skarner, you force them to pay the tax, and then all of a sudden they're suddenly behind the game. And that is my read on what's going to be happening between these two junglers. And largely, they're going to be playing to the opposite sides of the map. The way CS likes to play, facilitate towards the bottom side of the map, then let YT be a solid rock on the top side, and then for 𝘁, he's going to play to his top side. This is a Zeros team. Zeros is going to call for resources, and he's going to be the focus point.
So Jensen's saying we're not going to see much jungle interaction at all, which, I mean, when we were setting up this pre-game at the start of the week, and yesterday at least, Yulwei, you and I both agreed that we thought the jungle matchup might be the most interesting. Jensen seems to disagree. I don't know. He's explained it. I'm coming over to his side. Why did we initially think this jungle would be important?
Well, if you just look at 𝘁's stat card, we were like, okay, he's very similar to 𝘂𝗎. Both have Trundle most played, and then 𝗁𝗺𝗺 is in there as well, and the three most played champs. But if you look outside of those gems, 𝘁 actually has tried his hand at some different styles as well. He had the 𝗬𝗎𝗺 game that was amazing. I think he played it twice now. His 𝗬𝗎𝗺 was outstanding, was only second to 𝘂𝗎𝗺, and maybe even better than 𝘂𝗎𝗺 in certain games. So I feel like 𝘁 has slowly adapted towards being able to play carries. I wouldn't say he has transitioned over to a carry style every game, but it's another thing he has added to his wheelhouse, and I believe he can pull it out and maybe get ahead of 𝘂𝗎, who's basically the quintessential facilitating jungler, in my opinion. He's very solid. He's going to play a very solid game, going to a path for his laners, going to gank a whole lot and team fight well. He's actually a very good team fighter, but I believe 𝘁 has the ability to come in and dominate some jungle matchups here with the 𝗬𝗎𝗺s, or maybe something like an Italy. We know he's an Italy player at heart, so I believe that's going to be something to look out for today.
All right. And final point before we head in towards that draft, which might be starting shortly. We've said it's going to be a Zeros team. We might bring them up quickly and look at the difference between the top laners, the carry versus the rock. Actually, no, we have draft right now, so we will very quickly cut to a break so we can make sure we are all in sync. We will see you very shortly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry for that. We had to sort of scuff it a little bit because VETV started the stream late on us. But we can quickly see in bans we have a bit of a mid lane focus on the side of EVOS, whereas Cerberus banning just relatively strong champs. We have Set picked again into Camille, Zorn. Why don't you guys take it away? We'll start with Yulwei. How do you like Cerberus's setup so far?
I'm not sure if they've read patch notes. A little bit surprised by this priority here. Set first pick on 10-16. Okay. Oh, we've seen 𝗁𝗲 play Set in the first round. I think he played in the first game against GAM, and they played it together with 𝗂𝗍𝗄, so not actually paired with 𝘂𝗍. It's a very strong pairing. Well, yeah, I'm a little bit confused by these first picks. Of course, we know that 𝘂𝗍 is a big priority for Cerberus. They have a very strong 𝘂𝗍 player. But I'm not the biggest fan of Set first pick, so let's see where they want to go with the last two picks. Set, of course, still a flex, but mostly seen in jungle nowadays.
And Jensen, how do you feel about EVOS's setup?
I think this is what we're expecting from EVOS, right? Pick up the Camille early, that be VCS's marquee champion. I think that in general, the VCS as a whole has struggled to deal with this pick. The 𝗁𝗂𝗍𝗄, which is supposed to be a global meta kind of counterpick to the Camille, has not been working in the VCS. So them just going for the Camille is them picking up this champion, and I think once again, very effective towards CS like Studio. They like to pick for bot side champions. Camille, she gets ahead of the game, she just goes in and starts to one-shot these carries. 𝗁𝗲 to pair along with that, that's very standard EVOS combo. They played at the success in 2018, that was how they made it to MSI, even though it's completely different players now. This is the same playbook, same tricks. Weak side bot lane, Camille 𝗁𝗲. We're going to see a very top side focused game. I think this is where we're going to see the jungle matchup be relevant. So we have seen Set already. This could be support, this could be jungler. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually dropped. Okay, we do see the Sylas, so we're going to see the support last pick from EVOS.
Yeah, that's
a very cool draft from EVOS. I'm in love with this one. I really like the draft. 𝗁𝗲 and two melee silver laners is always great to see. A lot of setup, very good gank potential, and even Azir needs to be careful against the counter shuffle on the other side. TH able to steal the ultimate away. So I already like EVOS's draft here.
I have liked Cerberus's response in banning away the two main global factors that can come in with the Shen and the Galio. So is there any other? I mean, Twist of Fate is also banned. This Camille might feel a little bit left by themselves, not really playing into the traditional combo we are used to. Unless we see that pivot of the 𝗁𝗲 to the bot lane and the Nocturne come in.
Oh no.
I don't think we need very strong globals to pair together the Camille. Camille's fine as a blind pick. You don't really have to play globals to enable her. Yes, Galio is the standard combo. Just to play is something that we've seen a lot in the 𝗁𝗍𝗄 as well. But just Camille by itself, the combo is Camille and 𝗁𝗲s. We saw the Braum hover. Yep, that's what they're trying to look for. It's good against the Ornn and against what CES has. This gives them a very, very sticky team fight. If you see EVOS win a team fight, you're going to see them just stick on to the members of CES, stack them down with the 𝗁𝗲 passive, stack them down with the Braum passive, and suddenly
double stack passive.
Strong side laners. And now EVOS has a very strong 5-man core to contest with neutral objective team fights as well.
This composition is so disgustingly strong in team fights. They can do everything, man. And then Senna to back all the carries to dive into the backline up. I'm absolutely loving this EVOS comp. I think they've prepared some very nice strategies coming in here. And 𝗁𝗲, I think, is undervalued across the globe. I like to see her. I think she's quite interesting to watch in team fights. And 𝗁𝗲 Camille is a combo that actually enabled Camille to go mid lane a year ago or so. It's so strong. So I don't think Ornn is the correct pick into that. I believe this is going to be focus on top lane and just bring Azir's ahead to a point where they can't do anything against him anymore.
Yeah, I also think that it's worth looking at the draft and saying EVOS has a very strong level 1 sort of setup. Especially if Zorn is willing to take that stacking passive as well. You've got the Braum, you've got the 𝗁𝗲. They could look for some shenanigans at that level 1. But we see the comps. Guys, what are your predictions for this game? we didn't touch on overall predictions, but so you can also throw those in too. Jensen, you can start.
I'm wearing the EVOS jersey. This series is going to be EVOS 3-0. I love this first draft. I think this is going to be first blood in favor of EVOS in this series.
I can't say I disagree, honestly. I think it'll be a bit closer. I think it'll be a 3-2. I also love this draft. I'm going to say EVOS wins this game. Yulwei, you actually can get to your own stuff later because we are going to throw it over to you and Everyday for the battle between cats versus dogs. Take it away, Everyday.
Thank you, Vinny. I love to hear these analysts and, bit of a night off. Thank you for doing the hosting, my friend. But here we are on to the Rift. Very good competition out of EVOS, I do agree. So, sorry about that. Just a quick tech fix there. We have got it fixed. No worries. I gotta say, though, I don't hate the Cerberus comp. I think it's fine, but you know what Cerberus might be hating? It's this start onto 𝗁𝗚p. He's going to get stunned up by 𝗳𝗁𝗀. And Jensen, you said it. It's going to be first blood in the series, but it's also going to be first blood in the game as he just got absolutely found out in the bot lane.
And guess who got the first blood? It's not the bot lane that invaded with Zorn. I guess 𝗬𝗂𝗧 was there too, but it's actually 𝗁𝗏. And 𝗁𝗏 starts with the first blood. So LL today, coming into today, I really do not want to be LL. You know you're going to get abandoned in top lane. You know enemy team is going to hard focus top lane. So you get into game on your own. You're like, this matchup is kind of fine. I'm just going to farm and scale. And then you get into your lane and 𝗁𝗏 is already sitting on a kill. So it's not a great start for LL here. 𝗁𝗏 is set up for success from the word go, and we have to see where he goes with this one. Usually, in laning phase, 𝗀𝗃𝗃 doesn't really do much against Ornn, but let's first see what 𝗁𝗏p. Yeah, okay, just a very nice level 1 setup. Nothing 𝗁𝗏p can do to get away. He even tried to flash against 𝗀𝗃𝗃.
Yeah.
I think you should probably just hold on to that flash. There's no way you get away from 𝗀𝗃𝗃's wall dive. Oh, wow, but we have another kill. What is going on? The replay curse. No. Starting very early today.
We normally have to wait a little bit longer for the VCS replay curse, but no, we come out and Cerberus have fired back and they've accelerated their 𝗂𝗏. We go into another replay. How did this happen?
Probably 𝗁𝗏p just redeeming himself. Yeah, there we go. We're walking forward, 𝗏𝗏 and Aftershock, and that's enough time for Artemis. 𝗬𝗏𝗃 definitely did a very big mistake. They're not auto-taking Artemis back to get the Bromstun. Could have tried to trigger Bromstun and then flash away. I think that was a pretty bad mistake for 𝗬𝗏𝗃 to just try and run away from Artemis, who is able to catch up with his hops. So you should definitely turn around and auto-attack him once or twice. Is that another one? Oh my god.
Oh no, are we starting off with a bloodbath? Yulwei, we wouldn't have it any other way. 𝗁𝗏 is 2-0 on this 𝗀𝗃𝗃, and it is 3 minutes in and we have 3 kills. Welcome to the VCS. If this is your first time here, this is what we do.
Yep, EVOS had 0.98 combined kills per minute heading into the series from the regular season. So far, holding true to that. That might be another one. Oh my god, LL. Oh god, I feel so bad for him.
Teleports back to lane, and what do you know? There's a jungler there. He does hit level 3. He can get the big knockup, but the 𝗁𝗁𝗀 stun is primed. 𝗁𝗏 actually has to flash away. And as you said, 𝗁𝗏 is now on the approach. They're going to go for the re-dive. The teleport's used. Ornn goes straight down. Can Zorn and 𝗁𝗏 escape? Yado here, but it's a level 4 Azir with no mana. And EVOS gets out clean.
Oh, that hurts so bad for Cerberus. They want to get the 2 counter kills and then they get absolutely nothing. They even pay with 𝗁𝗏's TP. At least someone is able to catch the wave, so not all experience is lost. And on heading mid lane, I like this adaptation. Just let you... Oh, never mind me. More skirmishing in bot lane.
It's happening your way, but this time, of course, that Curse of the Black Mist is there. You can't auto-attack him, so gets away from Artemis.
So let's look at this again. Setup for the solo kill. Wow, 𝗁𝗏's actually used... Oh, 𝗁𝗏's used LL's weapons against him. That is so disgusting. He just used the wall dive, or the hookshot wall dive on LL's pillar. So LL actually dug his own grave there in the top lane.
Improvise, adapt, overcome. As he saw a wall come up for him and said, "Thank you very much, LL." And Yulwei, this is already looking very, very dire. LL.
It's a very different start too for Cerberus. I went back and looked at the games against Scum, and honestly, in the first 2 games especially, Cerberus started with a gold and a kill lead. So this is already something they have to adapt to. Their composition is very prone to getting picked, especially in the early game, especially top side, because the enemy has so much synergy between top and jungle. This might be a good counter kill. Xeros has his wall dive though.
Yep, he should be getting out of here, no problem. It's a set, really no gank setup there. LL couldn't get the party started. And Yulwei, 𝗬𝗏 is not level 6, but the show looks pretty stopped.
Maybe you can get another show stopped, the show from Xeros and EVS, playing their first playoff game. We have to remember, this is the only team we haven't actually seen in the postseason. They're presenting us with a very good game plan and a very nice draft. We were all in agreement that we liked the draft. Didn't get to make my prediction, and now it would be a little bit late, so I'm just going to hold that off. But there we go, 𝗂𝗄 trying to
𝗂𝗄
get
in the
away.
mid lane goes for the wall. Actually, it was the stolen wall first and the real wall second. A lot of walls being put up, but in the end, everyone breaks through.
Nice lane position from TH. It's a sweet little freeze. Okay, yeah, he just broke it and reset the wave. Fair enough, he wants to help with the dragon. I think he could have tried to hold the lane there a little bit longer, but to be fair, 𝗂𝗏 was resetting anyway, so it's probably not going to amount to much, and instead 𝘁, already level 6, securing the first objective of the game. Cerberus, one of the best dragon, has one of the best dragon percentages in the league. Not in this game. Starting off with a loss on the first dragon.
And we're already seeing the snowball effects here of these early plays, right? So not only top lane's over mostly due to the playmaking, but look at mid lane. The 𝘁ci𝗱 is even in farm to the Azir. That's not meant to happen.
Yeah,
But
the Azir
of
now
course,
has to be
if
so
𝗂𝗏's had
careful.
teleport-
Yeah, look at Azir. Azir blew his flash in the last play in mid lane, and that was just a 1v1. So now, with 𝘁 level 6, with 𝘁 soon to hit his flash again in like a minute or two, you could just free kill 𝗂𝗏. It's such an easy setup. Okay, 𝘁.
Absolutely it is.
This is going to be a hard game to pull off, but there's another attempt in top lane.
Oh, up in the top side, the Ornn horn is blown. Xeros will get knocked out. 𝗬𝗏 gets onto him, has the showstopper, and will bring it on out.
Oh, 𝗬𝗏
comes in for some moral support. 𝗬𝗏, just a bit too deep, and 𝗁𝗏 puts Senna back in the lantern.
Some very nice mechanical plays to defend bot lane and win top side. Cerberus equalized the kill score and are now even in gold as well. So what happened here? 𝘁 tries to get in range to do something, but I feel like he's just a little bit too far away. Hits the ult on Artemis, which is actually a little bit worse for them, because Artemis gets away with 𝗁𝗏's lantern, then some
𝗬𝗏
nice
just a bit
thresh play.
jealous.
Yeah. Let's say it was nice thresh play. He just hit all
think it
his
was both.
skills. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
both,
fair
to
enough.
be
Fair enough. 𝗁𝗏, like, that was on 𝗁𝗏, but, you know, maybe don't flash forward on Senna. Not exactly the best champion for that, but still. It happens, and we're back to 3-3. After the start that EVS had, I didn't expect we'd be back within 300 gold. But let's sort of assess where the kills are and the impact of them. Because I think, despite it being an even amount,
Oh,
the impact is not even.
I think LL could have
Hello.
seen this passive stack go over to Xeros. I think you can see that. Oh, it's Xeros still initiating this one.
It doesn't matter. He goes in. Hextech ultimatum is used. He uses a little bit to get away. They're diving on forward. They can't stack up the stuns. With 𝗬𝗏 coming in, this could be a big turnaround, but the Ornn is in so much trouble. Xeros sweeps his leg. They get the kill. 𝘁 picks it up. Can they go for round 2 on 𝗬𝗏? No one is roaming up to help, and they know it, but they call it off.
Interesting. I thought there was a secure kill on 𝗬𝗏 as well. This time around, they actually refrained from go. Oh, never mind me. So it's immediately proving me a liar. Okay, he still wanted a piece of 𝗬𝗏 there. Another good dive from LL, and they double stack the auto attack passives from Braum and from Sejuani. It's such a disgusting CC comp. Both champs are also very tanky. One on Aftershock, one with the 40% damage reduction later on in the game. Now it's probably
the
something
Camille.
like 30. So yeah, it's a very easy dive to pull off. Oh no!
Oh, it's happening again. LL, he gets that charge interrupted. 𝗂𝘃 takes a tower shot, misses the leg sweep, but 𝘁 is here. Ornhorn blown, but neither of them are tanking the turret at the moment. He uses it to clear the wave.
Nicely done. LL actually adapting, not trying to counterplay the dive, but instead just getting rid of the minions, so the dive is not possible anymore. Like this, he has been seeing a lot of gray this game, and he's also behind almost 40 CS, but he has to stay alive to keep his team in a position they can win. Their scaling is very decent as a traditional team composition. I feel like they can just be overcome by all the dive in the enemy team, but as long as On gets to a point where he can maybe tank a few CCs here and there, maybe disturb the enemy dive composition, he's still going to offer some value.
So, what do you think of this 𝘖𝗍 pick? I'm a little bit torn on it.
Really? I think it's the perfect composition to pick the 𝘖𝗍 in. 𝘖𝗍 𝗁 is such a strong combo. Yeah. I'm very surprised Son hasn't tried to gank him, because especially after the flash was blown for 𝗂𝗚, I think that's a free kill in mid lane. You can flash a Xayah ult and then follow that up with Son's ultimate, or even just Son storming in. So I'm a little bit surprised there. Maybe a little bit too much focus and a little bit too much tunnel vision on 𝗂𝗏, so bringing 𝗂𝗏 ahead, even though he's already ahead. So kind of sad to not see the combo being played around a little bit more in mid lane. But yeah, I believe 𝘁𝗁 𝘖𝗍 is a very good setup for early kills in mid lane.
Yeah, I just always get a little bit iffy when I see a 𝘖𝗍 with fleet footwork and teleport. Defensive 𝘖𝗍 is not good 𝘖𝗍. You know what else is not good? 𝗂𝗏 dirty farming your top lane.
Honestly, this can be a little bit of a downfall, though.
It's true. It should probably freeze the wave.
Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of all this. Okay, they wanted to swap for something. Get away from the lane matchups, I guess. That was a strange swap to me. They gave up another dragon. Could have probably not contested another one, but they kind of starved LL now. Very much made him miss that lane, that wave. He could have just collected every single CS in that wave. Instead, he had to go to bot lane, where he's probably denied almost every CS, and going to die again. They are really not very nice to LL in this game.
No, they aren't. He can't redirect the Ornhorn because he was stunned up, and that is a super easy kill over onto 𝘁. Not the best person to get the kill, but still, big meatball in the late game.
Alright, 𝘁𝗁 actually snowballs pretty hard with kills early on, because she gets unbelievably tanky, and her base damages are decent too. So I think in mid game, 2-3 kills 𝘁𝗁 can do a lot of work. So
yeah,
this swap,
it's not the worst. You'd probably rather it on your ADC or your mid laner, but it's definitely not. It's no 𝗘𝗀𝗏𝗏.
Yeah, indeed. She actually is very good at tank, especially into someone like Artemis's 𝗂𝗏. 𝗂𝗏 has a hard time killing 𝘁𝗁, so getting a few kills on 𝘁𝗁 is going to go a long way for their front line. So LL, this swap. So let's try to think about the swap a little bit more, because I'm a little bit confused by this. They try to get more gold on Artemis, I suppose, which they succeed in doing. But they also gave some gold over to Divkit, and the bot lane matchup in isolation was actually very much in Cerberus's favor. So they gave Divkit a little bit of extra gold, a little bit of a way back into this game. So they basically traded 80 gold for 80 gold, which is a little bit strange to me. I think if you have a favorable matchup in bot lane already, and your top lane can survive, because I think he can probably survive the 1v1 still, I don't think this swap is particularly great for you. So a little bit surprised for this.
LL is definitely asking where the hell is jungler is.
That is true. And rightfully so. He has been a little bit... he has really been thrown under the bus here by his team. He's not a good time.
But I think some of the saving grace for Cerberus, because it looks bad, but LL's not worth as much gold anymore. He's not going to really get any further behind, and he will eventually hand ornaments out. And the rest of the lanes are kind of going okay. Mid lane's spotty. You do see that the 𝘖𝗍 has an 800 gold lead, but the bot lane's going well, and the jungle matchup is fine.
Yeah, that's true. So Cerberus still has some way to play through, and something to play for. They just need to stabilize the top lane a little bit more, because This is not going to get any better later on in the game when Camille has 2 more items, but this might be...
4 members of Cerberus around this one. 3 for 𝗂𝘂𝗧, but 𝗂𝗏 gets stunned up immediately. Box comes out from Thresh. The tower's going to fall, and they'll take that as enough.
And that's maybe a little bit of a difference between these two teams. Cerberus just roaming top to secure the turret. If this was 𝗂𝘂𝗧, if the shoe was on the other foot, I believe 𝗂𝘂𝗧 would have gone for the dive there. Just risked all the, like 2 for 2, a 3 for 3, whatever. 𝗂𝘂𝗧 likes to fight. Cerberus is a little bit more conservative. They like to go for the objectives instead. And they also like to have their top laner struggle in side lanes. Oh man, he's level 9 to level 11 for zeros. Hitting level 10. Of course, you really need him on the isolated side lane to get him to level 13. Once he's level 13 and has 2 items, I think you can just... Oh, never mind. 𝗂𝗧
is in a little bit of trouble, but steals away the Emperor's Divide, but it's not going to get any chance to use it. Actually, I tell a lie. The center ult is really, really good. Should be able to get a second rotation. Don't go that close to him for the 𝘁cie_𝗱𝘆, but it doesn't matter as he is shut down.
That's a big shutdown, and the kill over to 𝗂𝗄. One of the primary carries in late game, I'd say the primary DPS in the late game, in fact. So that is very, very good news for Cerberus. Also closes the gold gap to a mere 1,000. So as long as they can play around the next 2-3 dragons, they should be fine looking for late game. And 𝗂𝘂𝗧 needs to come up with a different plan. I think top lane is kind of done for this game. You need to also play around your other players a little bit more.
Yeah, so we are on a Cloud Rift. We're seeing a lot of Cloud Souls in these playoff series. But we have another one here. 𝗂𝘂𝗧 are on the path to it, but it's not amazing for them. The cooldown reduction is nice, but they only get 2. Other than that, I guess Sylas likes it. 𝗬𝗁𝗎 doesn't hate it.
Yeah, no one really hates it. It's not going to be game winning. I think it's going to help them with 1-3-1 though. You can rotate between lanes much more quickly. It's a very good soul if you want to go for 1-3-1s. So it seems like Cerberus is just completely ignoring dragons, which at this point, maybe a fair call. Maybe you actually want to play for Elder Dragon later on. You don't act okay. This could be a very big collapse though.
It absolutely could. The teleport's coming in. 𝗂𝗄 tries to deny Xerath immediately, and they're just going to turn on this isolated teleport. It's LL once again, but he gets away. The Ornhorn comes in. 𝑇H has the showstopper, uses it there onto 𝗂𝗄. Can they keep this going? Who's got the damage to actually win out in this fight? It's a messy one. 𝘂𝗏's got God. He comes back out, uses the showstopper, but 𝘁orn will take him down. In fact, it was 𝑇H that did. B goes gold. 𝘁orn now charging on forward. He goes into the stopwatch as well. Sylas has fallen, as has the Thresh. There's a shutdown out of 𝗁𝗲. It's Artemis and 𝗂𝗄 versus Xerath and 𝘁𝗏kid. Who will come out on top? It looks like they'll call it a draw.
And the draw is so good for Cerberus. This looked super dangerous for Cerberus. Coming from the side, but very good timing from 𝗂𝗄 to actually deny Xerath the entrance into the fight. Then resetting the fight also with LL. Very clutch E to get away from his kind of weird teleport. Look at LL in this fight, but first look at this very nice timing. 𝗂𝗄 kind of cutting Xerath off, and now Xerath does not want to engage anymore, so LL goes to the safety of his turrets and then hits a very nice 4-man knock-up here to stall the fight. Artemis is a little bit far away, he can't auto-attack right now, so they need to buy some time. 𝘂𝗏 and 𝗂𝗄 go golden, and 𝘂𝗏 kind of sacrifices for the sake of this fight. But it's still a good positioning, very good front to back right now, and LL is just a meat shield, he can die. No one cares.
Is not having much of any impact in this fight until right at the end.
Yeah, because it's too dangerous to go into tower territory. He's not a full tank, he's a pretty squishy dude. Look at him, he has no extra HP besides the one Phage, of course, from the Trinity Force. So he's pretty squishy right now, and especially against 𝗂𝗄, who got the first kill in the last fight, he's going to melt. 𝗂𝗄 is going to shred through him without any kind of problem. So yeah, he has to be careful. Camille is a good team fighter, but not a good 1v5 dive into backline team fighter.
Yeah, 𝗂𝗏 getting zoned off of this blue buff will be secured by 𝘂𝗏. Sylas is very upset by that. His mana costs are exorbitant these days, which is not very nice for him. So let's take stock once again, because suddenly Cerberus have the slight gold lead. After this ridiculous start by 𝗂𝘂𝗧, bot lane farm has gone wrong. There's 2 kills on an Azir, 3 kills on a 𝘁𝗃𝗏. I think it's starting to swing into their favor.
It really is, and especially with the 𝗂𝘃 getting 2 kills, accelerating into the mid game, going to force EVOS's frontliners to build MR, which they really wanted to avoid. They wanted to have this game play around the power spikes where the 𝗂𝘃 is not really a threat, but now he's this far ahead of the curve that you actually have to care about him in team fights, and we just saw in the last team fight how 𝗂𝘃 could not do anything against him, so everyone needs to now go into MR items and see if you can actually dive into a 𝗂𝘃. 𝘂𝘃 is my main character of this game, I'd say, because if he gets caught in any team fight, I think Cerberus immediately loses the team fight. If he can stay back, if he can be safe and have a good shuffle to disengage, to reposition, I think he can carry every single team fight.
I think TH is also very important to counter that, right? If there's a wall on either side, I feel like that ends up sort of favoring EVOS. I think they do better in the scattered fights. The center ult is actually just used to check Baron there. That would have been a very bold Baron. But now they're saying, hey, they checked
position
it.
They lost. Yeah,
but
that tells me that
Cerberus, look.
Yeah, the Cerberus is a very fast Baron. It's a 𝗂𝘃. Oh, we're running.
Yeah,
no. Oh, okay. I think it's too late though. And that's just Baron for Cerberus.
Okay, that's a 21-minute Baron. They just said, well, they checked it. They're assuming we're not there, and we were. Okay.
It's so unfortunate for EVOS, but it's a really big thing as a Cerberus fan to look at this team and see them actually secure an early Baron, because they are infamous for their 10-minute-long Baron dances and not progressing the game any further, even from a 7k, 8k gold lead. This game they were that even, and they basically pulled off what I would call an EVOS Baron. EVOS is the most decisive team around Baron, and they like to flip Barons and go for 50-50s or even just attempts early on in the game. This time, this Baron goes to Cerberus. It's not a game-breaking objective if they can't transition this then over into a nice gold lead, because it's only 1.5k gold, right? It's nice. It also puts you in a position of power for this dragon, so you can stop the Dragon Soul. That should be uncontested. EVOS should not look for a fight here against Baron stats. But they are. Of course they are.
Oh, of course they are. They're coming around the corner. There's the center E for the speed. And
it's 𝗂𝘃.
Too late. 𝗂𝘃 on the other side, trying to get a little bit of lockdown, but he's taking a lot of damage. Gets knocked up. The showstopper goes in. The haymaker goes across, but it's returned by 𝘂𝘃 now. 𝘁 very low. That tank is not tanky enough. Look at 𝘂𝘃 going forward, but doesn't quite find it.
A little questionable target calling here from Cerberus, full focusing on 𝘁. I guess they got his flash, and they also got 𝗂𝘃's flash, so the dive potential is diminished on the side of EVOS. They get another turret and stop the Dragon Snowball, so overall definitely a positive trade and a positive passage of play for Cerberus, looking like the much more coordinated team with better shot calling. I feel like there could have been a little bit more won this team fight if they actually changed their target priority to someone like TH and maybe try to chase 𝗂𝘃 a little bit further. But in the end, not really anything lost for them. In fact, 2 turrets gained, so that's
very Cerberus, though. You know,
for sure.
They're the guys that will you take the $10 or flip a coin for $1 million? They'll take the 10. They'll just say, yeah, $10. I don't have to risk it. Wouldn't I look silly if I got the wrong coin flip? And I mean, it serves them well sometimes. Of course, sometimes they wait too long, particularly around Baron. But hey, Cerberus just took a 21-minute Baron. What are we?
Yeah, it really feels like Cerberus is a team, while EVOS is a lot of good players, a bunch of good players. But so far, their mid game has really not looked, this game at least, their mid game has looked very lackluster, late to a lot of objectives, especially the Baron, of course. Their vision control kind of iffy as well. You don't even have a lot of vision on the top side now, and they knew that Cerberus was coming towards top side, so just what is going on bot
in
though?
The bot side, LL is under attack. 𝘁 here to help out, but they just bring the teleport back. LL wants to lock them up for long enough for 𝘂𝘃 to arrive, hits the shuffle onto 𝘁. 𝗂𝘃 gets a little bit of a shield. Will it be enough? No, of course not. And now 𝘁, you're a big fat pig, but you're also a big fat purse here for Cerberus.
And that's 2 more kills for 𝗂𝘃. Finished his second item and is working on a third already. He is such a big threat, and Cerberus do not want to stop this push. They just got the 2 Oh, never mind me. I told a lie. They want to stop the push, of course. But they still got two big shutdowns on 𝘁 and 𝘳𝗓, and both went to the pockets of 𝘂𝗷, who's now the main threat. His itemization can be debated. Some people would say it's not the greatest. But at least he's hitting items, and the more items he gets, even if the items are not optimal, he's going to hit very hard. And especially 𝘁 and 𝘳𝗓 are going to have very little they can do against him.
Yeah, I think his build's not awful. And we do finally have LL hitting level 13 as well. It's a bit delayed. He's still 2 levels down to 𝘳𝗓, who must be feeling a little bit interesting when you're losing the game while Flame Horizoning your opponent, but it's an 𝗁. Who cares? Let him get Flame Horizoned.
Well, I believe 𝘳𝗓 still has the chance here to make his presence felt or known in the side lane. Oh, LL misses this one, and 𝘳𝗓 should be able to disengage. 𝘳𝗓 is still on the chase, though. Oh,
yeah, they're charging forward. Have that Cloud Drake circle for speed. 𝘁 will be the target. Hook goes out, but doesn't land.
So we know EVS can be a very good side laning team, and just cast your mind back to when they played against Flash, I believe in the last or second to last week, the split, and Flash just dominated them in team fights and 5v5s, looked very solid, played around objectives, and EVS just went to side lanes. 𝘳𝗓 pushed in the bot lane turret, the bot lane inhibitor, then got to the Nexus turrets, and they actually came close to backdooring Flash in that game, even though Flash was like 10k gold ahead or something. Unbelievably dominant in the mid game and around objectives. 𝘳𝗓 and his team still found a way to threaten the Nexus kill. So maybe they can show us some more creativity, some more side laning here with a super strong 𝗘𝗀𝗧. It's one of the best turret pushers in the game and one of the strongest 1v1 champs as well at this point. So if you can isolate the matchup, if you can give him enough time, he might just be able to run away with the game.
To find out is, again, the push in the bottom lane. 𝘳𝗓 very much focused around there. Isn't doing it alone. That's often the flaw with this team. But the next dragon spawns in 15 seconds, and Cerberus are on the hunt. There's the knock-up in onto 𝗳𝗏𝗧. 𝗁𝗏 follows it up with the instant hook. He's got no chance. He goes gold, but it's only to buy a moment of time. And 𝗁𝗏 will claim the kill. Fresh v center, you understand the grudge match. It's answered back onto LL. Back's coming in, but 𝘳𝗓 wants to keep going. Only has 1 minion.
So 𝘳𝗓's not going for the push here, so not forcing 𝘳𝗓 to react. The 𝘳𝗓 will collect another dragon. Kind of surprised they didn't go for the Baron instead, with Baron recalled. Baron could also be a little bit dangerous against 𝘁, of course, resetting. So understandable, it's the safer choice. I would have liked to see them run at Baron. I think the Baron is still very fast, so a little bit surprised by that. 𝘳𝗓's hesitant to push in the bot lane, which I believe he had an opportunity to get a little bit of damage on the turret. Now he's still pushing in, but now 𝘂𝗷 is reset, and 𝘂𝗷 is no problem chasing him off the turret. So a little bit of an opportunity squandered there on the side of EVS and 𝘳𝗓. They get another kill, but they lose another objective.
I think Cerberus were a little bit scared of going for Baron while LL was dead because they lose their turn. Their turn's not great without 𝗁.
𝘳𝗓's also a TP available, so it could be made into a 4v4 with 𝘳𝗓 teleporting in, so it's a little bit dangerous for sure. I think they're positioned though, so let's see if they can secure another Baron without a 10-minute long dance, as we know them for, and instead just push their advantage they have right now, because they are very strong in the 5v5. First on item now upgraded for Artemis. He has a lot of lifesteal, he's going to be very hard to kill. Also sitting on a little bit of heal reduction against some of the drain tanky enemies. Of course, we have TH with his Kingslayer, and 𝘳𝗓 has a lot of sustain too, so makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I feel like the heal reduction is pretty necessary here on both of the members that have built it. In fact, all 3 of the members that have built it.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much. Well, you could have skipped the Morales, honestly. But
I think you could have skipped the 𝘂𝗍𝗍s, in my opinion. I think it's fine for 𝘂𝗷 to pick up the Morales. He's had it for a really long time, and he is.
With a Baron, that's much more important.
Stolen on ult. He's going to throw it forward. Doesn't hit any knockouts, though, and this is an attempt. There's the big center ult, but it's secured. 𝘂𝗏 went over the wall with the showstopper. In come all of Cerberus's ults. They're dealing so much damage.
They need to win, bot lane.
don't have all of the damage, though. It's actually 𝗂𝘅 coming out on top. 𝗳𝘂𝗇 is in the enemy base. 𝘁, tanking it up, goes big with the gargoyles. They have to find a way out. They have the Baron recall. But look at this. 𝗳𝘂𝗇 has got an inhib, and he wants more.
Okay.
The rest of 𝗂𝘅 buying him as much time as they can. 𝗁𝗏 walks into the middle of the enemy team, disrupts everything. There's now a teleport from 𝗳𝘂𝗇. It gets interrupted. And oh my word, Yulwei, to borrow your phrase, it's absolute chaos on the Rift. As another play's coming in, they're going for the teleport, and I was about to let you take over, but you know I never ever can. TH misses the abduct. That's a little bit of a disaster, and should herald the end of the push.
And 𝗂𝘅 thought they had the game there with the teleport into the base, but not quite. It's Baron for bot lane inhibitor. That's a very interesting trade. Can be positive for either team, depending on the next few minutes. I think gold-wise, 𝗂𝘅 came out on top with all the kills on the top side too. And of course, they have a lot of pressure now. 𝗳𝘂𝗇 can focus on top lane, push in that lane. They also won the immediate fight, so it's going to be hard for Cerberus to make use of the Baron buff, because all their waves are in their territory, so it takes a lot of time to push those waves back into 𝗂𝘅's base and actually use the siege potential from Baron buff. I believe they still have some Baron buffs, right? Yeah, 𝗷𝗚's still sitting on one. Yeah, there we go. So it all depends on the next few minutes. If they can't do anything with this Baron, that's a very good trade for 𝗂𝘅, because this turret is not going to respawn, while the Baron, of course, does respawn.
So, Yulwei, we do just have a bit of a sync issue. We're quite far ahead, unfortunately. So we just we're going to hit pause. Wait, sorry. For me, I'm at 31:10. Could you let us know what you're at, Spoods? And just call us when you're there. Okay, cool. Should
13,
be fixed now.
14,
you good, Yulwei?
15,
Perfect. Yep, no worries. We're
17.
good. Sorry
Okay.
about that, everyone. It is just the realities of streaming how we have to do it. Tell Riot you want us to have a clean feed. Maybe they'll give it to us one day. But there is a push here from Cerberus as they're going towards the base. Stolen Ornn ult once again by TH. Blows it now, and they're going to go forward. Double knock-up, one onto 𝗁𝗏. That's a big start. The center railgun comes in. In goes the Azir wall, but it does absolutely nothing to stop 𝗳𝘂𝗇, who's carving up the backline. 𝗁𝗏 goes down. 𝗬𝗏 has to do it all, and even a big Azir can't 1v5. And Cerberus eat an ace.
Do they have enough time to finish the game, 𝗂𝘅 days? I don't think so. Maybe they do. It's 48 seconds on 𝗬𝗏. They're pretty far away from the enemy base, and bot lane is, sadly for them, pushed into their territory, so they will storm down mid lane. 20 seconds to 𝗷𝗚, but he can't stop anything. 20 seconds to 𝗁𝗏 too. 𝗷𝗚 and 𝗁𝗏 together might be able to do something against this one. I think it's not quite enough to finish the game, but they might still try. It's 𝗂𝘅. They're a very aggressive team, so let's see what happens here.
Find out as they do take the tower, and then they're just going to go secure the Dragon Soul. Definitely the safer play, but perhaps not the one that could have gotten the highest value.
So 𝗳𝘂𝗇 is dead, and 𝗳𝘂𝗇 is the most gold of the team, so it's quite dangerous to try and finish there. You could be counter-pushed by the enemy team. You're going to give up your assured Dragon Soul, so I actually like this one. It's a little bit more restraint shown from 𝗂𝘅. Not sure why Senna decided to not take the second soul. But let's look at this fight, much more important. And I mean, Cerberus is just way too overextended. Their tank is not actually a tank. 𝗷𝗚 just absolutely shattered there. got one shot basically from the combo for 𝗂𝘅. And everyone dies immediately. 𝗂𝘅 has so much CC between their members. If they get on top of you, if you can't defend against the engage, there's no chance. You're just going to die very quickly. So that is exactly what happened, and 𝗂𝘅 now, I wanted to say with a solid lead, but honestly, looking at the goal, it's still a very close game.
Yeah, it's a very close one, and 𝗂𝘅, that is a bot inhib down. It will be down for the Baron, obviously very important. 𝗷𝗚 clears waves pretty quick. Yulwei, how do these teams close it out? Because it's hard to tell who will be doing it.
Well, 𝗂𝘅 kind of has two options, right? They can either try to force the side lane play, or they can just try and force team fights with very strong engage options. We just saw them. If they get the engage, if Cerberus is forced into a spot where they can't really retreat. They will just all die very quickly. So EVOS, I'd say right now with the advantage because they have 2 ways, and there's the engage.
Well, there's the fight starting off. The showstopper will get the party started into a big haymaker from 𝗁𝗎, and EVOS are losing a lot
Bounce house.
of the fight. The big railgun, though, on top of that, 𝗬𝗁𝗎 ult sword has to find a way out. It was TH that died, but 𝗳𝗏 could try and get more. He goes on to 𝗁𝗎, but that is not the member he wanted.
The perfect combo for Cerberus, and they still only get a single kill. 𝗁 is so unbelievably tanky that they were not able to kill him. I also really want to take some time and flame 𝗬𝗏 for his itemization.
Nope, okay. Goes gold, buys enough time.
Yeah. Still the stopwatch thrown, so that's a nice little play for EVOS to maybe make him a little bit more susceptible to getting dived in the next fight. So that stopwatch is not going to be of any use. It's going to go for a very low damage, high defensive build, Artemis that is. So the main damage really has to come from 𝗬𝗏, and he is not itemized very effectively. No 𝐿eandre's into as someone who has to shred through very high HP bars. I hate to see it. And no void stuff either, so that's very surprising to me. He can't really deal with 𝗬𝗏 at this point. So yeah, not in love with this 𝗬𝗏. I think he has kind of messed up his whole itemization. But instead, EVOS wants to mess up this Baron.
Oh, Cerberus are faced with a devil's game here. Do we give the Baron, or do we let 𝗳𝗏 do horrible things to our base? As soon as they see 𝗬𝗏, they know they can get this Baron, but there it is. They're going in onto 𝗳𝗏. The Ram utterly misses. The Hextech ultimatum comes out as well. I'm having to cast from a picture-in-picture, but they should be able to clean up 𝗳𝗏, no problem. There's 3 of them there. This is an absolutely guaranteed Baron. Surely that's not worth it.
Well, you get GA and his life, and he's dead for 50 seconds, so the Baron is not going to amount to much. It's going to actually persist through the spawn of Elder Dragon. That's actually the most important part, in my opinion. So, I don't think EVOS can actually push for anything with this Baron buff, but they might be able to use the stats to win the crucial team fight around Elder Dragon. We might have Elder Dragon as the final objective to close out this game, in the very first game of the series. We're in for a banger today.
Well, Yulwei, I don't think Cerberus want to wait the 2 minutes as they are charging on forward. They know 𝗳𝗏 is dead. He's a big carry. TH only has a set ult, not the best, but 𝗁𝗏 has to be pulled into the 𝗂𝗪𝗢
What is
ult.
going on?
Goes forward. That's a huge haymaker into the Emperor's Divide, and Yulwei, the game might just end here as Cerberus are charging forward with the railgun, begins to turn it around, and EVOS are taking the win. TH charging on forward, wants to get it all done. 𝗳𝗏 is respawned. He's got the home guard. He's got those knife legs, and he is carving Cerberus up. 𝗘𝗀𝗄𝗏 as well goes massive, and that is another ace secured for EVOS.
And that's it. Cerberus just throw away the whole game. 5v4 against Baron minions in the base against these tanky members and all the shields. That is so risky, and you didn't have to go for it. Your team scales nicely into late game. I don't know why they felt pressure to go for the end here, but it's going to cost them dearly. That's very easily game for EVOS.
Absolutely. 𝗳𝗏 charging on forward, tanking up the towers, because of course he can. And Unofficial would have to put on one of the most magnificent displays ever, and they won't even give him the chance. They get the KDA stats padded, and Cerberus will lose game 1. EVOS take it in a back and forth affair. I felt like we were watching the cricket with the amount of throws.
Well, that was a very nice start to this series, though. We expected a very close back and forth series, and we get a very close and back and forth game in game 1. So, 4 more to come, most likely. The EVOS strike first, but it could have gone either way, and I think Cerberus, even though they're now 0-4 in playoffs, they can recover from this, hopefully, and give us a good show.
Yeah, I think they definitely can. But with that, we will be back in a few minutes, guys, to talk to our analysts about game 1. Don't go anywhere. We hope you are enjoying the show. I know I'm having fun. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. See you then.
Welcome back to EVOS versus Cerberus Esports in the VCS English. As you can see, we have our actual predictions down below. We are currently split, but Jensen and myself are looking much smarter at the moment, as EVOS do take the first one in a bit of a back and forth game. Jensen, do we want to cover sort of what the big talking points of that first game were?
I think you described it as back and forth, but from the moment 𝗁𝘂𝗧 was getting so far ahead in the early game, I felt that this was just going to be a whitewash in EVOS's favor. It did come close at certain points of time, but we saw the center composition. We saw what happened after 30 minutes. Even after CES is fighting 5v4, they're hitting those one-ball combos, but they just can't kill the meatballs because they don't have enough damage to send us sustaining through all the damage despite the heal cut that's been purchased by the 𝗂𝘂𝗧. So I just felt that the windows that CES has to win the game just weren't really there.
Okay. Yeah, but Cerberus were, however, able to sort of get find a little bit of an avenue back into the game due to some poor objective control in that mid game from Cerberus around the Baron, around those middle drakes. Yulwei, that was. What do we want to see out of them? What do we want to see? We want to see that cleaned up, obviously, but other than that, any other major faults from EVOS that, or was that just Cerberus capitalizing?
Well, I talked about this on cast, but I feel like 𝗁𝘂𝗧, not 𝗁𝘂𝗧, EVOS and 𝗁𝘂𝗧 are synonyms at some point, honestly. But yeah, I think they tunnel visioned a little bit too much and bringing 𝗁𝘂𝗧 ahead after you already got 2 kills in the early game. So I feel like they could have really tried to bring th into a good position too. th blew the flash of 𝗂𝘂𝗧 in 1v1, and then no one ever came to gank him, and he still had flash. That is such a free kill in my opinion. I mean, don't even try to get the 𝗂𝘂𝗧. I don't understand why. I think the EVOS should still play around 𝗁𝘂𝗧. He's their biggest asset, their biggest carry. It worked okay in this first game, I'd say. But you don't have to only play around him. Just give him your first 3 ganks, and afterwards you can also pay 1 or 2 visits towards mid lane, maybe even bot lane, God forbid. But yeah, I feel like they focused a little bit too hard on top lane.
And I thought we'd have actually a little bit more time to talk about stuff, but we are straight into draft for the second game. We're currently seeing bans coming out. So just before we get anything exciting in the bands or picks, Jensen, is there anything you want to add, want to see out of Cerberus to come back into this game?
Ban Camille, and you have to fix your early parting, right? Your bot lane gets a solo Q to redo, and you give the first 2 dragons. And you get double crapped as well. That is not acceptable. 𝘁𝗱𝗆 really needs to figure out how he's going to be playing the game, and he needs to figure out how he wants to set the win conditions for his team. If Cerberus, they were able to capitalize off that solo kill at the bot lane, translate that into 2 dragons, all of a sudden it is Cerberus threatening Elder Dragon instead of EVOS during the window where they're strong.
Alright, so we're looking for that Camille ban, and there it is, straight away. The first adaptation has been made on the side of Cerberus. EVOS is actually the one banning Galio this time. They do not want that that sort of global pressure for Cerberus and the Caitlyn to round it out. Don't want 𝗁𝘂𝗧𝗏 to get that. Even though that is an interesting blue side ban, Jensen. You're the coach. Do you agree with that?
I think
Caitlyn on blue side? Or?
I think Caitlyn on blue side is a red flag if you talk about EVOS in terms of EVOS's chances throughout the entire bracket run itself, because this says that we don't play the Caitlyn ourselves, right? But in terms of playstyle, I think the Caitlyn ban makes sense, because you pick Caitlyn, you pick Ashe. These are champions where you want to put resources into the bottom lane, but that's not EVOS, right? They don't want to be playing around bottom lane, they want to be playing for 𝗁𝘂𝗧. So get rid of the Caitlyn, disable the so-called bot lane win condition for both sides, so that if I'm not going to pick it, I don't want my opponents to be able to pick it up as well. Because Caitlyn is a champion that warps the game around her. She's like Jace on the top lane. She's kind of like Yumi in the support position. You pick her, the game becomes about Caitlyn. So get rid of the champion, because that's not what the team wants to play towards. And in flavor with that, first pick Renekton for 𝗁𝘂𝗧.
Man.
And
B1 Renekton. I know a lot of people hate B1 Renekton. I don't actually mind it too much. I think it's quite a strong champion. This would be a blast of the past. We're back to 200 years. Okay. We haven't seen an Aphelios in ages, but of course, we haven't seen EVOS in ages either, so interesting.
We
They
are
still like to value their failures.
We are going hard on patch 10.11 right now with the Renekton 𝗱𝗺𝘅.
True, true.
However, Cerberus, they've picked up a much more modern composition at the VCS and with the Senna and the Senna and the Zoe. I just said Senna twice. To round out their damage profile.
She's omnipresent.
Their main damage profile.
Understandable.
Yeah.
She's in every single draft, so Senna twice is okay in my book. I like this 𝗂𝗏𝗆 ban. I think someone is a very good 𝗂𝗏𝗆 player, so he just teased the 𝗂𝗏𝗆s too. Maybe it was a bait, maybe they wanted to draw this ban, but I believe it's a fair ban against someone.
I think this is going to be probably a Nidalee ban as well, right? Because this is going to be a topside game. Son, he has shown proficiency in Nidalee as well. I would be really surprised if they let the Nidalee through, or they could pick up the Nidalee themselves. Yep, there's no way they give Nidalee over the situation. Now we are looking for an AP champion that can pair well together with Zeros in the top lane. Lillia is still available. I do believe she's enabled for the VCS playoffs. And of course, 𝗂𝗏𝗏 is definitely something they can go back to as well. 𝗂𝗏𝗏 gives them the secondary tank against the Zoe. And I think that pairs well with the Renekton to be able to facilitate the dice on top of the map. Although it doesn't really give you the best dive potential as compared to the likes of 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏 or 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏, having the likes of 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 is better for the overall team composition. And given the top lane gap that we've seen in the previous game, if Zeros can pull it off, getting a solo kill early, 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 is really a champion that can snowball that lead together with the Renekton all the way into the late game.
So we're looking for something to snowball that top lane. Maybe we see the classic of the Elise for Sorn, but there's the 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏. That's gonna give that 𝗱𝗺𝗆𝗆 the front line he wants. But there we go. Now, the obviously 𝗱𝗺𝗆𝗆 is a big fan of people getting on top of him. How much do you think he's gonna enjoy the long range of the Zoe and the Senna on the side of Cerberus?
Yeah. The Cerberus comp has both dive and long range. That's interesting, definitely. But usually 𝗱𝗺𝗆𝗆 was known to be very good into champs like Volibear, like Trundle, and Leona to a lesser extent. So he should be decent if he doesn't fall too far behind. I'm once again interested to see what EVS does with all the top lane melee champs and 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's once again triple melee, and once again very good damage profile too. 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 kind of deals both types of damage. Then we have an AD top lane and a heavy AP mid laner, so I really like what they've put together here. Not the biggest fan of 𝗱𝗺𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗏𝗆, but I feel once again EVS is solid.
Disagree with that. I really like 𝗱𝗺𝗆𝗆𝗏𝗆s in this draft. They need an efficient 3-man unit that can hold up multiple people. It's difficult to engage on 𝗱𝗺𝗆𝗆𝗏𝗆s, especially when his targets available. They have the 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 to stand in front of him to block all the poke damage. They have the trash to throw the lantern. This is going to be a very effective point-trail composition, and this is once again in favor of enabling what EVS wants to play. CES has shown that they struggled to deal with in the past, and I think that this is going to be a 2-0 in the favor of EVS.
So we're looking towards 2-0 if Jensen is to be believed, and why not? He's the smart one here.
Violet's 200 IQ drafts, man. Violet's 200 IQ drafts.
I mean, I really like the drafts too. I think EVS's drafts have been better in both games. I love 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and double melee topside. I think it's so strong. And once it's Zeros on a super lane dominant champion, it's th on one champion on a mid lane champ that can also be played top lane, and he has shown us in the past that his 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is very strong. 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 also a very good champion right now. I think this composition is well rounded and also super strong in the current patch. So definitely agree with that. My favorite is EVS comp once again.
One very quick thing. I also am going to predict EVS because why not? But I do like that last minute pivot of the Volibear to the top side for the Trundle into 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. But with that, going over to our casters for a quick sync up, and then we should be good to go.
G'day everybody, we do have to do a quick sync. We're getting a little bit screwed over by the internet tonight, so I'm paused at 45. Spoods, if you could call it.
Oh, whoa.
Oh,
What?
I'm way ahead apparently. Okay, we're gonna have to fix that up.
Can we pause at 50, please?
Yep, I'll pause. Keep going.
Okay.
Okay. Should be fixed now. Apologies, everyone. This is just the reality. We are still a bootleg stream, and none of us have a computer good enough to output a synced feed, so we kind of have to jerry-rig things. Apologies for that, but Yulwei, I agree with the points the desk has made. I think EVOS has done very well in the draft. Renekton with 𝗂𝗏𝗏 is a ridiculous combo. But I will ask you something. Why has 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 been picked?
Well, Jensen made the point that he's very strong as a three-man unit together with Thresh and 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧. So maybe we can get to see that more in the mid game and from there on out. It's also, of course, a comfort pick for 𝗘𝗀𝗧𝗏, a very good 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 player. Kind of surprised too that we didn't see a different ADC, but they needed a lot of damage from the ADC position. We know 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 is capable of dealing a lot of damage, so maybe they didn't want to go for someone like Ashe, because a lot of people in, especially Asian leagues, for some reason build Ashe utility all the time and don't deal any damage, so people think she doesn't deal damage, unfortunately. But yeah, this 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 is going to probably lose lane here into Senna Leona, but if he doesn't fall too far behind, he should still be a very strong champion come mid and late game.
I think there is also just a little bit of the classic they have to run into 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧. Volibear, Trundle, Leona sort of have to run at you. 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 has copped a lot of nerfs. He's not as bad as, you know, the true 200 years, but you still don't want to run into him. So I think it's,
we know how
it's an interesting
absolutely
pick,
horrible Volibear is into 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧. We've seen it time and time again. He just runs at him, 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 disengages, then Volibear jumps away because he is already chunked to half HP because 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 deals a lot of damage, and he can't do anything anymore. So once again, really not a fan of this Volibear in the top lane. Every time we see it, it is horrible. So let's see if it finally can do something. The matchup into Renekton is decent. The problem is, it is very, very susceptible to getting ganked. And you're not getting away from that combo. Renekton flash Wing that stacks two or even 3 stacks of frost on you too. So you can just perma-stun the Volibear for a very easy early kill. I'm kind of surprised we haven't already seen this. So 𝗁 more towards bot side now, and he's
𝗁 in a little bit of trouble here. That's a lot of CC and a fair bit of damage. Can we get that last auto account? Of course we can. And the dogs will bite first in this game too.
nicely done. 𝗁𝗏𝗏 securing the kill, even though he was still a level down. Actually lost the scuttle crab, and Jensen talked about this double scuttle for 𝗁 last. Did he get double scuttle, or did he get double scuttle? I actually missed that. But definitely one jungler coming out on top, and this time
One scuttle hasn't been taken yet.
yeah, this game. But last game there was a big problem. So
sorry, I misheard you.
So yeah, he got both scuttle crabs last game, and he's aiming to do the same, but this time actually getting punished for his aggressive and maybe a little bit over-eager pathing. He's going to be met at this scuttle crab again. This time 𝗁𝗏𝗏𝗧 smites his way.
Oh, LL, he's in a little bit of trouble, but 𝗁 is in even more as he's going so low. Charges over the wall, but the bear follows immediately. 𝗁𝗏 wants to get the revenge, but it's 2v1. Teleport coming in. th arrives, but they have to call it off.
And guess what? When Volibear and Trundle group up, and Trundle has the double buff advantage, they can actually beat Renekton and 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 early on. So let's see what actually happens in the first one. Trundle, a little bit late on the scuttle crab, can't get the smite in this scuttle at least. And 𝗁 getting picked very nice CC chain from 𝗁𝗏, Unofficial, and Artemis, hitting all their important spells, and that's a very easy kill. Not much 𝗘𝗀𝗏𝗏 and B can do. Not sure if 𝗘𝗀𝗏𝗏 had no lantern there.
I feel like 𝗁 also could have flashed at any point, right? Like,
Maybe,
flash the Zenith Blade. You have to know the Zenith Blade leads to the Senna bind. I don't know.
Could have also just flashed the pillar in the first place. This dangerous. Yada actually very dominant in lane so far. 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗃 as said already, working on his first plating, so showing who is the real mid laner.
In the bot lane, and a lot of damage out of 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗧 going on forward, and Artemis pays the price.
The counter
𝗁𝗏
kill
wants to turn it around, but doesn't actually enter.
Zeros has TP, so maybe a little bit of respect paid there to the potential Zeros TP. Zeros is actually a player who likes to TP bot lane to get kills for himself. He's not the tank player who TPs bot lane to bring his bot lane ahead. He actually TPs bot lane to get kills for his own. So that is something Zeros has done multiple times this season. Not this time though, he just TP'd back to lane. So a clean kill for EVOS, their first kill of the game. And we know that B and 𝘂𝗧𝗏𝗃 are a known bot lane for getting 2v2 kills. Have been a little bit worse than maybe in spring, overall in summer, but they're still a very, very dangerous combo to play against.
Absolutely. And B, we didn't mention in draft, we didn't really get much of a chance. B got his thresh. He's fearsome on this champion. So it's good to see. You know, we used to see so many hook bans against B, if you remember.
True.
Hasn't had as dominant a split this time, but still. To see what they can do. Where else are we looking here, Yulwei? Is the 𝗘𝗏𝗢 being behind? How bad is that?
I mean, she's not even that far behind, to be honest. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 looking for another one in top lane. Just going to push out the
You
minions.
can turn the tower off.
True. It's still a dangerous dive against the Renekton level 6.
Yeah,
Probably not going to happen there. So, yeah, I don't think 𝗘𝗏𝗏 is actually that far behind. She lost turret plating, so gold-wise, okay, Yara's probably ahead by like 200, maybe. But it's not that big of a deal. She's farming fine. TH pretty comfortable in mid lane, just trying to get her items. First item, of course, as we all know, a very big power spike for 𝗘𝗏𝗏. Very annoying to deal with. And going to move into a strong side lane position. B
throws out the... Not quite.
Yeah, that would have been a literal death sentence for Artemis. If that hits, he's dead. So, good dodge, nice movement speed, and of course, the Curse of the Black Mist is a little bit annoying to play against. Don't really know where she is. I mean, you kind of know, but it's still...
You know exactly where she is, Yulwei. She's in the dead center.
I know. We still can't see her, so it's...
Yeah,
you know.
true.
I'm still surprised Son hasn't paid another visit towards topside. 𝗚𝗏𝗏 is perma pushing lane, as is tradition on 𝗏𝗏𝗏. And to be fair, 𝘂𝗏 is actually covering him most of the time, but still, feels like Son is missing a few opportunities here. It's such a strong combo. There was the stun into Frost follow-up. Should be an easy kill still. So, a little bit surprised by that.
First to rotate for the Herald. And one thing here, of course, is, and we haven't commented on it, this used to be something that was talked about nearly every game in previous metas, was Trundle into 𝘁𝗏𝗏. She's not a tank. She goes down to negative armor because of that Trundle, which is a bit of a disaster. But the Shelly bargain came through as EVOS gave up Herald to get the Dragon.
And also plating Unofficial. This was a famous play for being very bad, swapping into Herald against the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 because he's so fast at pushing turrets. Of course, that's been toned down a little bit. His pushing power is not quite what it was at the start of the year, but he's still going to get 3 platings here, so already a very questionable trade for Cerberus to move into topside. They protected their top laner a little bit more, which is nice, because I still feel like the combo is very dangerous to play against for 𝗏𝗏𝗏. But they gave a lot of free gold over to 𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗏, and if this Herald doesn't lead to first turret, it's actually losing trade gold-wise.
This is a lot of gold onto this 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, not just the plates. He has a big farm lead over 𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗏 as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow,
that's
that
huge.
is...
Look at the items as well, stream.
Yep, same for
Frozen
me.
for you? All right, cool.
Yeah,
As long as it's frozen for all of us, we are looking at that Zoe skin. But here we go. We were warned that there might be tech issues tonight, so we've got our first one. It's all right. Hopefully it gets resolved quickly. What's been your impression of this early game so far, Yulwei?
And it's pretty slow. We had a lot of scuttle fights, of course. We had a few early kills, but no actual ganks. It's very much focused on positioning of the junglers and not around the lanes. So it's a very different early game to the first early game where everything was about Zeros and 𝗏𝗏 and ganking 𝗏𝗏 over and over again, killing him under turret, bringing B up even into the top lane to kill him. So very dangerous, very different game. Dangerous too, because they don't actually have that big of a lead on Zeros this time around. Zeros also went for early Bramble Vest on Renekton. I don't think I've ever seen Bramble Vest first item on Renekton other than into Quinn maybe, but very surprising to me. Of course, heal reduction is valuable against 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. He has a lot of innate sustain. But Oh, wow. We skipped a minute or so, and now the EVOS just gets first turret. Nice.
Well, we might have only gotten back in for a moment there. We'll have to see what happens, because it's the time warp again. You know, you put your hands on your hips. Well, while we do wait for this tech just to get resolved, we are just going to throw over to our analyst desk. You guys can chip in. I know Jensen has a few things he wants to say. We'll find out. But let's throw over to them and see what they have to say. Vinny, take it away, mate.
Thank you, Everyday. So we've seen Sorn get punished for not having the priority in his lanes when he's going for those scuttle crabs. But that doesn't matter because that bot difference is giving EVOS the gold lead. That's my takeaway from it at the very least. Jensen, anything you really saw? Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let him finish this.
Jensen,
Not yet.
No,
Also,
never mind.
wait until we see 10 seconds of consecutive gameplay.
Okay, fair. Jensen, you gotta talk apparently.
Yes, finally, my turn to go. So
Yay!
I think there's two big things I want to break down over here. First is 𝘁𝗺𝗎 versus 𝘁𝗏𝗏. What's the dynamic of the matchup, right? Like most of the time, junglers they see it as if you get double crab is kind of doomed. But I think as the 𝘁𝗺𝗎 versus 𝘁𝗏𝗏 matchup, especially given how the lanes are, you should be fine getting double crab. You should just be looking to full clear, then cover any potential dives that are coming through on your side of the map, and then just playing towards the level 6. So you can even look for the wolf camp start, where you full clear to the spot side, recall, buy the jungle items and at the top side of the map, or you can just go do the SOFM style clear, where you just skip everything, maybe even skip the red buff to avoid a potential cheese on top of that, and then be able to potentially secure bot side scuttle crab if your bot is priority. If not, you just reset and then go for the second run of full clear to hit level 6 after that.
Well, with that, we might be tossing back over to the casters for the game.
Yeah, I made my point.
Yeah.
Good to have it. Yeah, we do have the game restarting. We will have to resync again, unfortunately. We are being plagued by tech issues, both on our end and the Vietnamese end, I'm afraid. If you want this to be resolved, feel free to donate to the stream, and maybe I'll be able to get better internet. Spoods, could you give us a countdown? I am paused at 13:30. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Chill. Let's just rock. All right, there we go. Hopefully it stays in sync now. Sorry again, guys. We are just having a bad night. But speaking of bad times, B going a little bit too deep there has been found out. Will get put to sleep. 𝗱𝗡𝗆𝗆 zones them back a little bit, but not enough as 𝗬𝗄 picks up that first kill.
And once again, we have kind of reversed roles for the teams here. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 is getting all the kills, while 𝘂𝗏 is getting all the objectives. Very fun series so far to look at if you actually get to see some footage. So 𝘁𝗏𝗏 is stabilizing in the mid game. They will get the second dragon even after losing the first turret to the bot lane. We saw glimpses of that. Okay, what happened here? 𝘁𝗏𝗏's on top of Artemis. It's probably. Oh, did 𝘁𝗏𝗏 go too far?
Ooh. No.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah,
I think
he
that's
did.
one
He
kill
did.
on 𝘁𝗏𝗏 that we missed.
The
slow.
classic 𝘁𝗏𝗏 overextending. That is a very classic thing that he does, and he got caught.
Yeah, or close to one-shotting Artemis, but maybe don't do that if your first item is Bramble Vest. I think if he goes for, I think he has like 2 longsword items or 1 longsword item, he might be able to get the kill there. So miscalculating his damage, maybe because he's unfamiliar with the damage spikes on this very defensive Renekton build that is still not quite figured out. I'm still kind of weirded out with this build. I don't think that is the way to go into the Volibear. I believe most Renektons will actually go Executioners instead to have the more proactive, the more AD focused version of the heal reduction. Also a little bit cheaper, 200 gold. It's not much, but it's decent. So yeah, let's see. 𝘁𝗏𝗏's behind now for EVOS, and that most of the time that is not a good sign. But a little bit caught on the other side.
Oh, are they? Who really is caught? Because the teleport is very deep. TH, but he's playing Akali, so In the end, they all disengage, but EVOS still want to take this Herald. They have some big ults up. The 𝗂𝗎𝗡 had to use his, but 𝗳𝗏 just got absolutely trucked. Pops the Dominus just to get some healing. B, far forward, gets found by 𝗁𝗏𝗡, and all of the follow-up damage. Can they finish him off? Yes, they can with the railgun. 𝗂𝗏𝗡 threw out the big flamethrower. 𝗳𝗏, as you said, in the back line with 𝘁, but now they're all disengaging, and this is a very lonely piggy. Will she be able to get away from the bear? She does, but the Herald goes to Cerberus. Oh no, it resets! Round 2, Yulwei!
It's all. Oh wow, 𝗂𝗷 is chunking everyone. Oh wow!
Oh, and
he just killed him.
He was trapped. He was trapped in the bush. If he went down, he goes in the trap. If he goes up, he gets paddle starred.
I didn't actually catch that. Wow, 𝗂𝗷 smurfed this fight so hard. Great Zoe performance. A little bit of an unnecessary stopwatch, in my opinion, but never mind that. He was absolutely amazing in the last fight, showing us the big power spike of Zoe on one item, or 1.5 items. He initiates with a nice bubble on 𝗳𝗏. 𝗳𝗏's immediately chunked down to 300 health and forced to ult. He's not a very scary Renekton at this point. Kind of... Oh no. That happened in a replay, of all things. That is strange to me. Whatever.
Okay, well, keep
So the game seems to be... I think the game is going on, right? The game is being played, but we're just having problems actually getting the footage. So it seems to be a little bit of a connection issue there, or something of the likes. But the games are being played, so yeah.
Let's just hope it gets resolved.
It's a big win for Cerberus, and I believe that this is going to bode well for the rest of the game. As I said before, 𝗳𝗏's behind is already a very bad sign for EVOS. I always confuse EVOS and 𝗳𝗏 today, man. You see how much he is worth for this team, with me just messing up the names all the time. But yeah, he's 0-2 now. Yeah. Or did he actually survive? Maybe he survived. He's very useless.
He did survive. He got away.
And 𝗂𝗷 with a big lead. Mid-game Zoe on 2 items now, or close to 2 items after this fight, is going to be able to one-shot almost anyone. Maybe not 𝘁, but even 𝘁 died very quickly to his combo. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of work for them to get back in this one. We saw how they struggled to close the game out in game 1, and that was with a massive lead, and they're now behind. But once again, I will hand you back over to a smarter bunch of people than I. To kind of just talk about this one while we do try and wait for these tech issues to be resolved. I hope production's ready for that, but I'm sure if they're not, they'll figure it out. Vinny, take it away, mate.
Thank you, Everyday. Yes, once again, we are paused. So, Jensen, you get to make more points.
Okay, so this is the Zoe point that I'm going to make, right? This is the Zoe point I'm going to make. In general, when you look at the champion like Zoe, this is a champion that spikes levels 9, 10, 11. And around that period is when the second Drake and third Drake spawn. And this is usually between 11 minutes to about 18 minutes. This is where Zoe is at her strongest point in the game. And if you watch the likes of LPL, this is where you tend to see the Zoe highlight reels with the 5 points in the queue, in the pedal star, being able to pop people after they land a sleepy trouble bubble. Now, 𝗂𝗷 has definitely been a standout player for CES throughout most of the split. I do believe he was able to pick up the most MVPs for CES. And I think that in the first game, he had a decent showing in this year. This game, I like EVOS's draft better. But with the current trajectory of how the game is going, this can be the 𝗂𝗷 show if he can pop off on the Zoe.
All right. Well,
definitely agree with that.
Well, with that, we are definitely going to see if 𝗂𝗷 can carry Cerberus to a victory if we pop over back to the casters for hopefully the last time this game.
Analysts really getting an over budgeted share of the spotlight tonight. I'm feeling a little bit sad that I chose not to host tonight. Wow. But we are back in. And I have to agree with Jensen. The mid-game Zoe, a very, very terrifying thing. And she's going to hit that mid-game very early. So how? Can't quite get onto
It's even better. She hit her big level spike that Jensen was talking about, while also hitting her first item spike, which is even better than Luden's extra damage, the penetration, and now early cooldown reductions. On top of also a few stacks on the Dark Seal, so it's a perfect storm. Zoe hitting all her level spikes and item spikes at the same time. And we saw her in action in the last team fight, annihilating anyone she could see. That's very good usage of the Herald, and EVOS Cerberus finally moving up to a nice lead.
Another bubble lands, and no one saw it. You're right there. Block it, dude.
Yeah, that's just the
a bit
support, so
shocking.
they just let him die. Not very nice of them.
Not necessary.
Ядо. Okay, he dropped 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗥𝗕𝗥𝗕. I thought he was still in 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗥𝗕 for a second there. Could have died. So it's a 1v1 attempt from EVOS in defense, or as a response to this nice mid lane group. They will get a top lane turret, I believe. 𝗘𝗏𝗢 should be able to push that one. But they will not get anything in bot lane. Oh, is she even able to do it? Well, there's another wave coming, so she should be in a position, but it's giving up another dragon. So Cerberus not in full control, but in a much better position right now.
Yeah, it's true. And seeing 𝘁𝗀 not block a 𝗃𝗏𝗀, is that tilt coming in?
No, I don't think so.
Yulwei?
I think he made.
No,
I think he
just
made
a-
the decision to not do that, to not put himself into any kind of danger, because they wanted the jungler for potential dragon contests. So I don't think it's the correct decision, but it's a deliberate decision. It wasn't chilled.
Yeah, and apparently we do have a bit of a sync issue. Production, can I get a timestamp? I'm getting a little tired of this, but yeah, we're
What is
miles.
going on?
We are fucking miles. Can you 2 times the feed
Yeah,
for a sec? We're way too
20
far.
seconds ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to do it, dude. Throw, if you want to just throw to our cameras while we fix it. Just okay, but I should think you should still throw to our cameras. Regardless, whatever, we're trying to get this fixed. We do apologize, guys. This one is actually on us. We don't know what's going on. The internet's just not very good tonight. Yeah, again, this is the first time it's been happening this week. Internet, we are all across the world and have to try and sync a stream. So we are just going to try and figure that out. Let me know when you're ready to sync, guys, once you've done your 2 times speeding. Okay. No worries. Just to get a bit of radio casting going, there is a push down in the bot lane here by Cerberus, taking down a lot of the health, but not quite picking up the tower. But EVOS are answering with a Baron. We might just wait a moment as this Baron play comes out. Apologies if it's out of sync. TH dives on in. 𝗁𝗏 misses the Zenith Blade. They pulled off the Baron. Artemis with the Curse of Black Mist. 𝗁𝗏s tries to find his way into the back line. That's a massive center railgun across the entire team. LL doing what he can in the back. 1-for-1 at the moment. 𝗁𝗏 charging forward. They get onto 𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗏. That's a Leona bit of CC. Very
Another
easily
flash.
done here. EVOS now. Here they go. The flash forward. 𝗂𝗏 finds another one. As you said, he goes gets the 𝗃𝗏𝗀𝗀. B dives forward. There's a bubble. Can they follow up onto it? They don't need to, as they'll just take the Thresh kill instead.
Do they want to go for the Baron themselves now? 𝘁𝗀 lying in wait. He wants to get the smite steal, and he wants to be the hero for his team. He was in a very precarious situation, but this could be the moment for 𝘁𝗀 to get them back on track. But 𝗁𝗏, oh, he's not sniffing this out, is he? Maybe he is. Do they know about
LL
𝘁𝗀?
sniffed it out now. Chasing
Yeah,
𝘁𝗀 off. I
LL.
know we're all thoughts about a sync at the moment.
There's a smite on 𝗂𝗏. They have double smite, and 𝗂𝗏's smite is higher, so let's see the smite mechanics from the mid laner.
Here we go. Let's find out what's going to happen. There it is. 𝗂𝗏 secures it. He's got those mechanics. TH trying to turn something around. Artemis very low, but can't get clicked on right now. And now EVOS might have gone too deep.
Oh,
𝗁𝗏 diving very far in. 𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗏, that was an incredibly bold call. And he got punished for it, as did 𝗁𝗏s. 𝗂𝗏 absolutely smurfing on this Zoe. 𝘁𝗀 is the next one. Triple kill for the Zoe. And do we finally get to sync?
That might just be all she wrote for this game. Cerberus in a commanding position, and we are going to get to sync.
Are we synced? Production,
nope.
apparently we're okay. Cool thing. Let's look at this replay, Yulwei.
So we have Cerberus being a little bit pincered here by EVOS, but they very quickly get into a good position and in a good formation for the team fight, all grouped up, so they can actually fight front to back. And EVOS tried to respond with a good fight as well, but difficult a little bit caught once again by CC, and 𝗂𝗏 is so strong, getting to chase all the time, a lot of flashes. Misses this crucial 𝗃𝗏𝗀𝗀, but in the end, doesn't really matter, because Leona re-engages anyway. They secure all the kills and get on top of Baron. We don't actually see the finish there on the Baron, because we have to go back into game. The next dragon is going to spawn in 40 seconds. I don't see a future where EVOS can get this dragon, maybe with a miracle steal, but they should not look for a fight here. as this is not the position they want to be in. There's so many strong items coming in. Cerberus almost unkillable tanks and then super strong carries, so you really do not want to contest this next dragon fight.
And this gold lead seems a lot smaller than the game. Is a lot smaller than the game kind of seems. It is just the farm. The bot lane has a pretty big farm lead. There's a bit of one in the top and the mid lane as well. 5k, but they're fighting like it's 10.
Yeah, and as long as they can put a cohesive composition of, or not composition, more cohesive, play as a cohesive unit on team fights, I believe Cerberus is in a bigger advantage than their gold lead, as you just said. It feels like they're in a big advantage, and right now with the Zoe being this strong, with the enemy assassin or melee champ struggling to get, or to be in a strong position to drive the back line, Renekton is not really going to use all his 8-9k gold. Same goes for 𝗂𝗏𝗧. She hasn't really done anything in this game, 0-0-1. So feels like a 10k gold lead, and I believe it is also closer to a 10k gold lead than it actually is showing right now, because of the teamfight advantages on Cerberus' side.
For sure, and Cerberus now pushing in this bottom lane. We'll take down that one easy. And EVOS have to figure out some form of last stand. It's hard to see though, Yulwei.
It really is.
I need a new glasses prescription to see EVOS winning this one. This is the Renekton problem. He got behind and he doesn't exist anymore.
He really does not. And no flashes
but
either,
here
so you can't even get close.
There is going to be the teleport coming in, but it doesn't complete because the tower died. So the 𝗂𝗏𝗧 can't even join. The big solar flare div kid going very, very low. 𝗂𝗏 is the next target. Railgun across the fight. Doesn't claim any kills, but does force them back to the fountain, and the inhib is secure.
So classic EVOS, not going for the 5v5 last stand, and instead trying to spread the maps, trying to go for some side laning. This has been a little bit of a bread and butter play, or the quintessential EVOS play in the last few weeks. Usually it's 𝗂𝗏 on the side lane, this time actually th. He succeeded in getting a little bit back, a turret for himself, a little bit of extra gold in his pockets. But they lose bot lane inhibitor, that is very bad for the next Baron, going to spawn in 2 minutes, so Baron into then Infernal Soul after reset off Baron seems to be a very easy way to close this game out, and EVOS has to come up with a different thing to stop this push, because just one top lane turret is not enough.
No, it's not. But at least it's something. Was a bit unfortunate. His teleport was very close to completing when that tower went down, but maybe should have gone to a minion. It was a bit risky. And he got punished. TH splashed.
I honestly feel like it was the better play not to teleport at all. I think taking it to a fight there is just going to be your demise. I don't think you can win a fight from the current position. You need at least a few more items on the 𝗂𝗏𝗧 so she can even threaten the backline. I don't think with these items she can even look for a solo kill on anyone. So I think it was actually a better decision, or it would have been a better decision to not teleport and preserve that summoner and try to just get as much as you can, which ended up happening anyway because the teleport was denied. Wow, that's a lot of damage.
Whips the 𝗂𝗏𝗧 ulti around the other side. Ron is tanking up everything. 𝗂𝗏, even with the perfect flank, can he get anything done? The answer is no. Artemis has taken the kill, I should say. I always get confused about the formatting. Oh boy. And a lot of ults used by Cerberus, but they still can push on very, very easily. And EVOS, it's now or never, guys.
It's just going to be the end of the game. It's only one kill, so it's probably just going to be an inhibitor into good reset into Baron, because Baron now a 30 seconds timer, so it's almost perfect, lined up perfectly there in terms of timing. And it's just a very textbook game so far on the back half for Cerberus. Looking still, I would say, like the better team, even though draft advantage both games so far on EVOS' side. And first game was very scrappy, very back and forth. So second game is going to be a little bit more, maybe a little bit more in Cerberus' favor. 1-1 bodes well for a good series.
Yeah, it does. Well, let's see how this one played out with the replay. Sorn bubbled.
It's just a snipe. Yeah, there's not really much to say. They snipe Sorn is super low. Then they re-engage here. Ron maybe a little bit deep, but he's very tanky. Immediate exhaust, very strong against 𝗂𝗏𝗧. And as you pointed out earlier, Xera's just doesn't have the damage to really be the big Renekton beast, the big B1 Renekton we've seen so many times succeed in LPL. He is more of the NA Renekton, and you don't want to be that, so... That is not a very successful champion. It's another Baron. It's 2 inhibitors down. I don't like this turn. Cerberus, just finish Baron, man.
Yeah, this does seem a little bit unnecessary, but they could win the game off of it. The railgun's already come out. Artemis is actually going to go down. This could be a bit of a disaster. Yado has to kite back. He does a lot of Cerberus's damage, and EVOS could actually win a fight. They should have just finished Baron, Yulwei. Why didn't they just finish Baron? And Cerberus are getting cleaned up. 𝗁𝗏 will be the next victim as they get forward onto him. LL and Yado survive, but oh no, it's not happening again.
Every day, can we enter a different kind of competition, a new mode of League of Legends competitive gameplay without Baron? Because I believe Cerberus would be one of the best teams here without Baron. The without Baron game mode, they are very good at every other aspect of the game, but Baron is just their downfall time and time again. Why? Why turn on a 3k HP Baron when you know 𝘂𝗧 can't get there? You know she has no... maybe she had flash, but even if she had flash, I don't think she can ever get into the pit before you finish the Baron. And I mean, even if she does, even if she gets the Miracle Steal, she immediately dies for that, so you're going to win the team fight anyway. I hate the turn. I think the turn is so bad.
They pick up an Infernal Soul at least. It was a bad play, but I don't think it'll matter in the long run.
Yeah, it's still a series, right? We're not playing best of ones, and these kind of mistakes can cost you the series in the long run. If you do this time game after game after game, maybe this game they're going to get away with it, but in the next one, this could be the game-deciding mistake. So we also talked so much about 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and his ability to fight into our enemy tanks running at him, and that's exactly what Cerberus did to him. They could have forced him to run into them, and then 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is very exposed, but instead they opted into the quintessential thing that 𝗏𝗏𝗏 likes, running into him, so he gets a lot of time to just shoot any target he can see. So
yeah, he was untouched.
Just a bad
It's a bad
here.
sign. Yeah, it is a very bad sign. 𝗁𝗏𝗏 going forward. They can still close this one out. Ooh, Solar Flare. Not the best there, but not the biggest problem. Cerberus now, they sort of can't push. You don't want to push into Baron even with Infernal Soul, but EVOS can't do anything either. So we're just in a bit of a minute and a half of a stalemate.
Yeah, Cerberus should still try to force fights, I believe. Maybe not commit that hard into choke points, but there we go. Speaking of choke points.
Yep, Zeros takes a little bit of damage. The pillar kind of inting a little bit, but it's all good. As they might finally take the mid-tier 1 Yulwei. They open up the map a little bit, should help this early game out at 31 minutes.
Yeah, Cerberus seems to be a little bit lost right now. They don't quite know what to go for. Infernal Soul should be a stronger buff, and
looks like they're going to go for a fight. Zoe lands the sleep onto Sorn. Can't really do much as a tank at the moment. Another massive center ult out of Artemis. 𝘂𝗏 will get that first kill onto B. Zeros getting chunked out. LL's traded. And TH is running amok in the backline. DivKid, pretty much untouched, finally takes a little bit of damage. Oh no, Yulwei, it can't happen like this, can it? They're losing fights.
They are. It's not going to cost them much. It's just another turret, but it's a bad sign, and it's psychologically, it's a very bad thing to happen for Cerberus. They just lost a very back and forth game in 37 minutes in the first game. They could have won that if not for the overextension into the base. Now they are in a They were in the commanding position. 2 inhibitors down. Baron up for grabs. They should have secured that one. And suddenly, both inhibitors are going to respawn. The enemy ADC is sitting on 4 items. The enemy mid lane is slowly but surely getting to a very strong point as well. So it's getting more and more dangerous. Your Zoe is slowly falling off too. Speaking of Zoe, it's very interesting to see what Yado does in this fight. Just dancing around the outskirts of the fight, doesn't hit the first battle star, so hasn't dealt any damage so far in this fight. Unfortunately, 6-0-7, the first bit of damage on Zeros doesn't really matter. Zeros is not really in the fight, he's just zoning Yado.
Oh, he misses another paddle star.
Yep.
That was
Yado,
pretty bad
just
out of Yado.
very ineffective in another pedal star into nothingness. Yeah, 4 pedal stars hit, 1 hit, Zeros, and it didn't matter at all. So the main carry of the team didn't participate in the fight. Then it makes a lot of sense that Cerberus loses. So they have to play this much better. And they had the perfect opportunity to close the game with the Baron buff, to force the enemy team to come into them, because the last 2 fights, they opted into coming into the enemy team, and both times they failed miserably. So a little bit of change of scenery would be nice for Cerberus.
Yeah, I think so, and we have to see 𝗂𝗄 do more. So much of their lead is on him. They're only 500 gold ahead now, with a, what, 6-0 𝘂𝗍? They're behind. If 𝗂𝗄 doesn't do damage in a fight, they're behind. Love to get a soul count on Artemis. We'll have to see if the observers click over onto him, but 𝗘𝗀𝗺 at the moment is probably out-damaging Senna by a hell of a lot.
Oh yeah, if he gets to auto attack for sure. The problem into Senna, of course, is the range disadvantage, so if Cerberus plays it correctly, like they did in the mid game, 𝗘𝗀𝗺 never gets to really auto attack until he puts himself into a dangerous position. And Cerberus was very good at the start of the game at capitalizing on his overextensions. Think back to the very first Baron fight, where he tried to stop or tried to assassinate Artemis, and Artemis just turned around, W'd him, and he just stood there and got annihilated. So I can still see 𝗘𝗀𝗺 throwing the fights away. He's kind of known for being a little bit overzealous in team fights. He deals a lot of damage too, but he kind of dies a lot. So all eyes on 𝗘𝗀𝗺 in these next few fights. He's the big carry, he's the main DPS between either team, and he can really decide this series. If he goes 2-0 after 2 very back and forth games, after a game Cerberus should have won, I think EVS is in firm control of this one.
Yeah, maybe. 𝘂𝗎 now trying to get on to 𝘂𝗏, gets lanterned out. The bubble lands. Oh, but 𝗕𝗏 carving into the backside might have gone a bridge too far. Artemis gets another big center roll. He's done them every fight. Is getting those auto attacks, and now in the mix. That's a big 𝗱𝗙𝗍 ult. But finally, 𝗂𝗄 activated. But can he do enough? There's a lot of high health bars on EVS. Oh no, LL gets cut down. It's a double kill for 𝗘𝗀𝗺, and I'm getting the flashbacks Yulwei. I'm seeing the centuries come online as I think 𝗘𝗀𝗺 might carry EVS to a win.
This might be it. Artemis needs to perform a miracle here. No, EVS not fancying the win at this point. They got 2, and of course there's Elder Dragon alive and Baron too, so they want to play it safe. They have the strong ADC. They know they're going to win team fights if 𝗘𝗀𝗺 stays alive, but 𝗘𝗀𝗺 just used Cleanse and Flash, so next team fight, even with Baron and Elder Dragon, if you get the drop on 𝗘𝗀𝗺, he just dies. So 𝘂𝗎 also wants to give up the steal.
They don't think they can give this up. 𝗂𝗄 is here. He is so much damage. 𝗕𝗏 gets absolutely chunked, but 𝘂𝗎 gets collapsed on. They're keeping the dragon.
Teleport from 𝘂𝗏 behind.
Yeah, they're going to give the shot. Oh no, 𝘂𝗏 into the back line, and this is a disaster. I think this might just be the comeback of the century as 𝗘𝗀𝗺 goes down, but Artemis is in the middle of no man's land between the trenches. 3v3, 3v4 I should say, but 𝘂𝗏, it doesn't matter that he was so far behind. He's big enough now. 𝘂𝗎 goes down 40 seconds on both of the carries, and EVS might have done it.
What is 𝗁𝗏𝗺 doing? What is 𝗁𝗏𝗺 doing?
Good God, I have no idea. This is a disaster for Cerberus. If they lose this game, surely the series is just done.
Can't believe it. We're once again approaching 38 minutes, and once again EVS is running into the base of Cerberus. Cerberus was in such a good position to win this game. 2 inhibitors down, Baron for free on the map. They were on Baron, 3k HP, and then turn, they lose the fight, and it has been downhill ever since. 𝗘𝗀𝗺 now very, very, very strong, and even th is getting to a point, level 18, we can assassinate anyone, going to have more impact than 𝗂𝗄 in some of the fights, so Cerberus kind of have to pull the rabbit out of the hat to do anything here. I believe the Thresh against Senna event just activated. That's the Vietnamese over there, yeah, on the right-hand side.
That's enabled in pro play on TR? Oh, they're not on Tournament Realm, that's why! That's huge! That's a really big deal. 𝘁 goes in, though. It might even be a bigger deal, as now there is an ult ticking in the backside. 𝘂𝗏's taking a lot of damage, but 𝗂𝗄 has to deal with th, and Cerberus are melting away. 𝗘𝗀𝗺 is getting it all done. That's a triple kill. The 𝗱𝗙𝗍𝗏 once more. It's a quadra kill, and EVS nail the comeback.
And 17-18, they are still down in kills. They actually have the gold lead, but not as one dragon to 4. This was Cerberus's game. They were in such a good position. Now they're staring at an 0-2 and 1 game away from being eliminated after starting the spring split on a 10-game winning streak, on a 6 series win streak, 6-0. They looked like by far the best team in the whole season, in the whole region, and now they are facing elimination after going 0-5 so far in playoffs.
Well, Cerberus has 3 heads. That's 3 next to choke with. Because that was one of the biggest chokes I've ever seen. That Baron turn lost them the game, lost them the series. That's a shocker, Yulwei.
Over. We saw an almost reverse sweep yesterday.
Well, true. The series isn't over, but...
It certainly feels over after 2 close games and this comeback, but maybe Cerberus can reset mentally and show us some resilience. Every single game they've played again in playoffs, apart from maybe Game 3 against GAM, has been very close. They are 0-5. It's almost unbelievable if you look at this the games. They should have won the last one, maybe even the first one in the series. Maybe they can show us an unbelievable comeback. I am certainly hoping for a better performance in Game 3, so we can go to Game 4.
That'd be nice. We'll be back in about 5 or 6 minutes with our analyst to break that one down. I think we need to mentally reset, so we'll be back in just a little bit.
Feels I'm crossing a line.
And welcome back to VCS English, where we have just seen EVOS get the greatest comeback against Cerberus. Now, Game 1, they were able to cleanly sever the head of Cerberus, one head. In Game 2, they had to fight out of the maw. And Game 3, does Cerberus actually manage to get a chance to get that bite into EVOS? So, Jensen,
I would argue
we
that more
support
than just a chance to win the last one. So I'm not sure what they need to actually win a game in this playoffs. Because if you can't win the last one, I'm really worried for you for anything you can bring.
Yes.
I think they need to stylistically adapt, right? They need to stylistically adapt to how EVOS is playing. They're trying to go for these big compositions, but they don't really have the ability to get in there and secure the space. The first game, they went for one combo, but EVOS had enough disengage tools. Second time around, they banned out the Braum. They removed some of that. This time as well, they should be thinking about the 𝗁𝗁, because the 𝗁𝗁 is definitely doing a lot of work. Som didn't have the best game. He started the game 0-2, gave over 2 400 goals, 𝗘𝗀𝗄𝗏, but he was so vital for EVOS to turn that game around. Just staying in the front line and then playing body blocker duty, right? Just soaking up all the damage, just making sure that the Vanguard was always secure for EVOS as they just marched the minion waves down. Even it's so difficult for Yano on the Zoe with the Final Soul, with the Death Cap, with the Ludens. You thought, okay, this is going to be a Zoe carry game, but no, it's a 0-3, it's a 0 for 𝗁𝗁, just standing in his face, soaking the damage, and then just healing everything back up with the Warmogs. So getting rid of these tanky options that's making EVOS be very effective with the 3-man, 4-man units is something that CES should be looking to do. And the champion that I suggested at the start of the stream should be something that CES is looking for as well. We see that in the LPL right now, but Skarner is very effective against the way Zeros likes to play. It makes them pay the taxes, and I think it should be something that would be vital for CES to pick up should they want to have some form of draft advantage against what EVOS likes to do.
So we're hoping to see the Skarner just as an answer to that 𝗁𝗁, or is that in addition to a takeaway or ban of the 𝗁𝗁?
I think either is fine. Banning the 𝗁𝗁, I don't think is going to solve all their problems. The previous 3 bans that they had was Lucian, Camille, and Set. I think these are very specific bans. Giving up the Set, not too sure if they're okay with doing that, because Set can do a similar role as well. Of course, not to the same degree that 𝗁𝗁 does. But he brings his whole other host of problems if you give EVOS the Set in the situation. Well, it also of course depends on which side the CES decides to choose. But Camille, stick with the ban. Lucian, if they're banning that throughout the entire series, continue banning that. And then whether it's 𝗁𝗁 or Set, that's not really the biggest thing. So perhaps going to picking up the Skarner for themselves should be what CES is looking to do.
Okay. So we want to see either or, maybe both. But I mean, we have to touch on that last game and the turnaround. Now we can point to the Baron throw and touch on that a little bit very quickly. But EVOS, we should also touch on what EVOS did to make that comeback possible.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
okay, sorry. I mean, I'm just gonna repeat my point,
Sure.
right? I think that this is just 200 IQ drafting from Violet, right? They want a solid core. They know that this is how the opponents like to play. They have these spoke champions, Senna, Zoe, trying to play front to back. You have the Senna in the front line with the trash on Lantern Duty. And we saw such a big difference when B knew his job in those fights. When B is on Lantern Duty, EVOS is winning the fights. When B is stepping forward, trying to hook people, he's the one getting caught, he's the one getting bursted. And once you don't have the safety of the Lantern, EVOS was crumbling around the seams, especially when we saw the first, or was it the second with Herald being used. He stepped forward, tried to go for a hook, ate the Zoe bubble, and then from there, EVOS just lost 2 turrets, and they fell very far behind the game. But in the later stages, when he's standing further behind, letting the Sejuani be the one to threaten the engage, and then he's just playing Lantern Duty, playing Peelback Duty for the 200 years, then that was an entirely different story. And I think that that's the mid-game adaptation the EVOS had, just from a single player's perspective, that allowed them to reverse their fortunes from just hemorrhaging all over the map to being able to form this solid core that could just march down the mid lane.
All right, and with that, we are moving into the draft phase. And we have to look at Cerberus. Jensen has said, yes, we want to see maybe a Skarner, maybe a Sejuani, takeaway or priority. What do you want to see, Yulwei? What do you want to see Cerberus do to overcome this 2-0 deficit?
So I want to see Artemis hypercarry. Because we've seen Kalista and Senna so far, and in both games, basically late game team fights went EVOS' way. And some of that had to do with the fact that, I mean, in game 1, Yado kind of, I didn't like his itemization, but both of the games, they kind of lacked the damage to cut through the tanks, in my opinion. And in game 2, I still maintain they should have won this game. They were so far ahead. If they take Baron, I think they just run down mid lane, they end the game. But in the late game team fights, that shouldn't have happened, fair enough. But still, in the late game team fights, they had Senna and Zoe, and those two don't really work together to kill any kind of tanks, so I feel like I would like to see a hyper carry, maybe something like Caitlyn is of course banned, but maybe also something like Jinx, maybe a Twitch even. I mean, it could be your last game of your season, so just try something different. I don't want to see the Kalista again, even though I acknowledge that Artemis is a very good Kalista player.
Because they want to see that hyper carry. Currently, we are seeing Galio available for the first time as that Zoe is taken off the table. They are going to go for the Ashe for Artemis. Not quite that hyper carry you were looking for, Yulwei.
Well, she can be. If she's built correctly, and with the Lulu, she can be a hyper carry. Not going to happen in VCS though, because everyone likes third item Dust Dance for some reason.
We've seen more Infinity Edges than we have in the LPL, at the very least. And EVOS just looking like they're running a trying to run back the core with a Volibear instead of a Renekton this time.
No Sejuani in the first 3 means that's a very obvious ban here for Cerberus in phase 2, forcing the Volibear maybe in the jungle position, though I'd probably already expect this to be the jungler. I don't think Xerath likes to play Volibear too much, so it's a decent matchup into the Renekton, can still be flexed, but I would expect this to be the jungler, and still to make sure, maybe ban the Sejuani anyway.
Yes. Jensen, how are you liking the Violet's 500 IQ drafts so far?
I think that this is what they prepared for, right? This is the reason why they want to play TH. They were expecting the Ashe to come out at some point in the series for Cerberus, instantly locks into Akali. This is what they're looking for. I think 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏 going for their fillers here is once again signs of weakness that EVOS is showing, right? I think it's fine in the context of the series, but in terms of like, if I'm Gam, I'm watching this and I'm thinking it's EVOS a threat, I'm going to be able to identify 𝗘𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏, he doesn't play Caitlyn, they banded themselves on blue side. If you opponents pick Ashe, you're going for a fillers into Ashe. These are potential areas for a spot that the other teams can be looking at should EVOS advance through the best of 5 today.
Alright, and we see that Sejuani taken off the table. We are looking for a jungle pick, and it's going to be Yulwei's favorite, the Graves. And looking for them, which seems interesting. You can get your counter pick mid lane right now.
And you need a hard carry, in the mid lane with a lot of damage. You have no AP damage in your composition so far, And the enemy team already
Yeah.
has one very beefy dude in the jungle, most likely. Okay. Quinn, Zeros Quinn, very risky, very 1-3-1 focused, and of course the greatest counter pick into Renekton. So, what is going on?
That makes
Okay,
a lot more
this
sense.
makes much more sense. Okay, was scared
Um,
for Renekton for Malphite bot lane. That would have been something for sure.
I was a little bit scared of that Blitzcrank harbor because it seems like something B might go for, and it doesn't feel great. I think into that
Is
with
Lux
an
enabled?
Aphelios. Good question.
No, Lux should be enabled. She was played
Lux
yesterday.
should be
so-
enabled. Yes.
I actually do think that if Violet goes for if they did go for the Lux instead of Morgana there, I think that this was 2019, right? But Morgana, I would just say 200 IQ. You get a mage matchup into the Ashe, helps you push the lane, helps mitigate some of Aphelios' weaknesses in this matchup. But I do think, once again, just looking at the overall draw, Quinn into Renekton, the opponent has Grace. They're forced into this Rise now, so they have some ability to lock down the Quinn on the side lane. So I actually think that the Rise pick kind of saves the draw for Cerberus, or else I felt that this is something that EVOS was running away with. But once again, this is the overall playstyle. EVOS is playing the 1-2-1 team composition, Cerberus is playing the big team fighting composition, and twice now Cerberus, they find themselves being able to execute that in the mid game to a certain degree, and EVOS botching the objective control that's allowing Cerberus to enable that. By the end of the day, it's just the overall value of the champions and the way that EVOS have constructed the draft that has enabled them to come out ahead in these games. But I think that this might be the first time where we don't necessarily see that late game team fighting advantage that EVOS has.
Alright, so I'm going to take it and say you think Cerberus might take this one?
I'm wearing the EVOS jersey. It's gonna be a 3-0 for EVOS.
It's a 3-0. Okay. Going hard for the Cats. We're going in, hoping that Zeros can get that snowball and push into that 1-3-1. And I must say that bot lane is a very good setup to, maybe defend against attempts to attack the core. So I like EVOS is gone. And Yulwei, you can take it away. But as we throw over to the casters.
Well,
Thank you very much.
Vinny. Oh, I know you tried to throw it to your way, but I'm going to steal it back.
Fair enough. That's
But I'll give it.
it's your
quickly
time to shine, so go ahead.
I will give it quickly to you. This Quinn, are you going to have time? As we are going to potentially invade. But let's talk about
Level
this
1
pick
from
a little.
Cerberus. That's refreshing. We've seen 2 attempts on the bot side for EVOS, and so far, Cerberus hasn't really come up with anything in the level 1s. So nice to see them try something themselves, but good ward there from 𝗘𝗀𝗃𝗃 to stay safe.
There we go.
Okay.
Sorry. Just a little resync again. It's always just a bit of an issue. It's all good. We should be fine. Hopefully it holds throughout the game. And I wanted to ask you about this Quinn pick. It's a Renekton counter, no question, but it has always been a cheese.
Well,
What do you think of it in this game?
there has been, from time to time, some Korean teams have actually played this champion as like the main counter and not even as a cheese pick. I think back to last year's 𝗬𝗚𝗏𝗏 and Khan. He actually played it very regularly. So it is always dangerous to pick an ADC in the top lane that doesn't really scale well into team fights and needs to rely on his mobility and his side laning. But it is the most, I've heard time and time again from pros, it's the most unplayable lane in the top lane there is. I believe there was said about the matchup in Europe when Matt Lyons played against Origin's Quinn. And yeah, a lot of people
Could you not
praised...
switch lanes here? Rise can top.
That's actually an interesting... Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I would have actually liked to see that. I'm not sure I'll just opted into getting chunked to half HP there. He could have just stayed back, and I mean, he had to sacrifice the minions anyway. He's actually ahead in the minions now. The first and last time the whole game he's going to be ahead in minions. It's not going to happen again, I can tell you that already.
Last time we saw this Quinn counter pick, It was not piloted very well, but I think 𝗳𝗏 will do much better. He's already doing better.
Yeah, 𝗳𝗏 is very good in laning phase and very good at those cheese counter picks. His Lucian was absolutely incredible into Renekton, I believe it was too. So he knows how to space, how to move on the ADCs too. So I expect him to run away with this laning phase. And there's a Grace in the enemy jungle, so it's not really the greatest setup to gank the Quinn either. No targeted CC or anything. You know that Renekton can't ever CC Quinn because she can disengage whenever she likes. She can also spot the Graves, as she just did there. So she is unbelievably safe here, even pushing into the turret. And I believe Cerberus has to play away from top lane, try to focus on some other matchups, maybe bot lane, maybe just try to farm as much as he can in the jungle. Speaking of the farm in the jungle, he's 2 camps down already on Grace.
How has that happened? I'm not even sure where that difference came from. Has he just pathed weird? He has.
Yeah,
he
has.
started
Buff.
blue and just skipped Grom. I think maybe he was stopping the early all-in from 𝗳𝗏, but I think it was pretty obvious that he wasn't going to go for like a level 2 play. He doesn't have Ignite.
Yeah, he wanted to guard or safeguard his top laner against another early dive. It came at a big cost though, because now he's even getting invaded. There's nothing for him to take back, so he's going to get Scuttle top, but he's still on level 3, and even the Scuttle is not going to push him to level 4, while Sawn is working on his level 4 already in a matchup that Sawn should not be winning on this jungler. So once again, 𝗁𝗏 seems to be at his wit's end in this jungle matchup, and Sawn is just a little bit better at pathing, and even though he gave up 2 kills early on last game, he was close to securing 2 Scuttle Crabs once again. Seems like he got the better of 𝗁𝗏 today.
Yeah, I think for sure he has. Yado, very low on mana, has been having to use it to clear out those waves safely against the 𝗬𝗏. I would have really liked a lane swap.
Yeah, and I'm looking more and more at this. I don't really see why you wouldn't go for the lane swap. So, I mean, Ryze into 𝗬𝗏 is, at least before his changes, I believe was a pretty good matchup because of the shield. Now he doesn't have the shield anymore, but I'll come back to that later because 𝗁𝗏 is looking for a gank. No red buff.
They do get down the slow, but there's a Gravitum on that. Okay, well, that went nowhere.
Amazing Grace games.
Graves.
Please more, please more.
Delicious.
I'm just...
To be fair,
marveling.
he lost nothing doing that. There's no camps up. May as well have a crack, right?
Yeah, it already sad enough that he's 2 levels down on Grace, by the way. It's not, not that much of a redeeming factor. Oh, he's getting hard out jungle. He's getting jungle diffed. That is the next level
this is
jungle diff.
Kingdom.
Yeah, it is.
This is Jungle Kingdom for Thorn. What has happened here? Volibear, yeah, he farms very quickly. He keeps up with Graves, but dude, you're Graves. How have you done this? Oh.
And now, how does he recover? He can't gank any lane. Maybe mid lane. Maybe. There's an off chance of being able to gank mid lane. But 𝗬𝗏 is now level 6, so she has a half escape. You can ult forward and then ult back with flash to get away. It's also hard to lock her down with her shroud, of course. Bot lane has black shield, and you don't even have CC. So bot lane is kind of ungankable. Top lane is ungankable from the start. So cleanse, and then also the escape abilities of the champion, or the E especially. I'm not sure what it's called. So yeah, Sawn is just very content with farming and getting further and further ahead in the jungle matchup, while 𝗁𝗏 can't do anything and will not be able to impact the map if he can't get an early skirmish or anything like that. Because Grace from behind, even Grace from ahead is not great, and Grace from behind is even worse. So.
And it will secure them an early dragon. All of the advantages absolutely everywhere. It's got to be said, Yulwei, you're a liar. He's ahead in CS again. In top lane.
True, what? What? How did this happen? Wait, I can't believe it. I actually liked it, you all. Apologies. My sincere apologies. Zeros disappointed me big time here. How did he know? Wow. I'm actually very surprised.
He pushed every wave into the tower, and LL just farmed it under. And then LL, he's going for the reset now, while EVOS, I think
Zeros also missed a decent amount of CS while pressing.
Yado walked into the shroud there and took a lot of damage. But he's resetting anyway.
kind of surprising. Top lane not going as badly as you would expect in this matchup. Seems like 𝘂𝘳 has really tried to get some early gold of turret plates, but I really don't like people who do that on ranged matchups in the current days, because top lane turret is so tanky against ranged auto attacks. It got changed a while back where it has extra protection against ranged auto attacks to enable melees to not fall behind as much. So I really like when ranged top laners for the first 8 minutes of the game, where the protection is, or 6 minutes, whatever it is, just try to freeze and deny as much CS as possible. Instead, 𝘂𝘳 is still pushing in every single wave and giving a lot of way to scale into this one.
But
it's not possible. It's not possible, guys. It is not possible. Stop, please.
He just vaults. Yeah, I think the philosophy has to be, you don't pick Quinn to actually get the Quinn ahead. You do it to get the Renekton behind. And obviously that sounds silly. Well, if Quinn's ahead, Renekton's behind. But you want him to be behind the curve of the game, not just the curve of the top lane. So just freeze on him.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. Having Quinn be the strongest champ on the map is also quite valuable. Because no one can enter side lane against her.
She's going to be if you freeze, right?
Well, maybe she's going to be as strong as the mid laner. So I can definitely see a strategy working where you just try to dive the Renekton over and over and try to get kills. That's not a bad strategy either. But if you don't pay attention to the top lane, then you should definitely try to just deny CS and get as many for yourself as possible. 𝘁𝗕 gets down to you.
𝘁𝗕 in trouble. But he just goes into the shroud and 𝘁𝗀 shows, and he knows he's safe as houses. Well, nothing really happening in this early game, except Bo5 continuing to stay ahead.
9 minutes in, and no kill for a VCS game. That is very surprising, especially for an EVOS game. We touched on this at the start of the series. Almost 1 combined kill per minute in their games, 0.98 if I remember correctly. So there is quite a lot of kills, but not in this game. And we're just farming jungle camps and minions in all the lanes. Let's evaluate some farming numbers. Mid laners doing the best. I think mid laners.
LL.
So sad.
Oh, the mental.
I mean, I can never have sympathy with Renekton players, so I don't know. I hate both champs, so I don't really know which side to favor.
Well, I have to favor the Quinn because she has a bird, and I have bird. I like birds.
Yeah.
Easy. Valor's a
easy
cool
as that.
The life of a play-by-play caster.
I mean, I liked it way more when
let's-
Valor was actually still a champion. Now it's just a useless bird.
True. But anyway, let's go back to your other point, because it was a good one. Kind of checking in with the CS and what it means for the game.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really a big difference anywhere. Mid lane is farming the best right now, which is most of the time the case, because they have earlier access to waves as well, so it's always going to be a little bit inflated there if you don't hit the correct mark to check CS. Seems like there's a tiny advantage in bottom lane, only one waves, 5 CS there. So I'm going to go, nope, never mind me. Back to the CS discussion. An early plate for 𝘂𝘳, so they are dominating bot lane by a very small margin, but a little bit of extra gold. In terms of overall team gold, they're slightly behind though, but it's really nothing to speak of. And both teams just waiting patiently for their first opportunity to strike, I guess. That wasn't it. Please stop trying to gank this Quinn. Can you please
Can't
not?
do it. They might be able to do it with a Bard ult. But Artemis, he got abandoned in the bot side, and well, that's what happens.
Oh man.
They saw Bard top.
Flashbacks to the last game, 𝘁𝗕 getting early kills and laning phase, getting early solo golds and alone time with the turret. Not what you want to happen after you carried the last game, so... Oh, where are we going? Okay.
This is the replay. Okay, that's a little bit unlucky, Artemis.
Yeah, nicely done. Nicely done from EVOS. They
maybe should have cleanse in this matchup, not gonna lie. Gravitum and Dark Binding. Maybe
fair point, fair point. It's first blood. We are finally on board, and we're going to trade top side. Oh no, LL is going to die.
Yeah, LL is in a lot of trouble, but 𝘁𝗕 tries to go back in. He's the one that got the kill. Yado is doing what he can, but that's going to be 2 for EVOS. A lot of tower plates, and it's a disaster for the dogs.
And we have seen so many defensive teleports to save other solo laners, and they never work. Either the enemy team just disengages and you wasted your teleport, or you both die. And that's honestly the outcome we see more often in the VCS. They are just a little bit too late, and if you burst down LL, especially if you have the 𝗀𝗻𝗥𝗕𝗄𝗧 ability from 𝗁𝗏𝗺, it's so risky to teleport up there.
They're going to try and get something back, though. TH is the target.
Oh, Grace got a kill.
Yeah, wow, he's going to carry now.
Hey,
He's caught up in CS as well.
Yeah, he is caught up. So look at this. There's a teleport, double teleport, of course, forced after the first one came in. But, I mean, this is level 10 Rise with a tier. What is he going to do?
Yeah.
You have to be very scared of this Rise. No, you don't.
Any other jungler, I think that goes okay. But it's a 𝗁𝗏𝗺. Just let LL die.
Maybe.
He's already a handbag. Oh, 𝗂𝗏𝗺 has to try and flash away and manages to do it. Well done.
Aggressive, very aggressive. 𝗁 just out of nowhere, flashing out of 𝗂𝗏𝗺. He's like, okay, what, okay. I guess we do a trading flashes. Fair enough. 𝗂𝗏𝗺 didn't flash in top lane, so maybe he thought he flashed in top lane because he died, and most of the time you would assume he would try to flash away. So maybe a little bit of a miscalculation there. And honestly, trading flashes is also not that bad. It's not super great. Nah, this early on in the game, I actually think 𝗁's flash is a little bit more valuable, because TH can't really pressure solo kills anyway, and 𝗁 can make stuff happen proactively with his flash, initiate the dive or something. So it's kind of a wash. I don't think it really matters too much, unless 𝗂𝗏𝗺 dies against someone now in the solo lane.
Yeah, I'm looking at this as a little bit of tilt out of Cerberus. They're 3k down already. There's been some bad mistakes going on. And is their comp even better as the game goes on? How do they even kind of get back in this one?
Well, they have the Rise insurance policy. He is a big menace, and he's quite good into almost every champion on the other side. Rise into 𝗂𝗏𝗺 is a little, can go either way. I think 𝗂𝗏𝗺 is a little bit favored in the late game, range-wise.
There's a play in the bot lane here. We need to get down there. There was a magical journey, and it's going to be the first kill going over onto 𝗊𝘁, traded back onto the Ashe. 1-for-1 at the moment. 𝗁𝗏𝗺 with a good flash over the Dark Binding. 𝗁 charging forward, but he goes gold from 𝗁𝗏𝗺.
𝗁 still, I don't know, he's just going to try and farm some more minions. Going to be trading farm with Zuhal in the bot lane. So both junglers quite happy because they baited the jungler, their laners into dying, so they can collect the precious CS there. But of course, a good play from 𝗁𝗏𝗺. A little bit risky, as we saw the health bars go very low. Let's see what 𝗊𝘁 does. Very nice ultimate, and that's a lot of burst damage. One more item and 𝗊𝘁 gets a triple kill here, by the way. So
yeah, that was
very
filthy.
risky play, but just in time to get a 2-for-1 trade. Cerberus get out on top, and the first nice proactive play from Cerberus leads to leads to 2 kills. But look at the lead from EVS already. That's some solo lane domination.
I'm already worried though about this ADC matchup. Like, yeah, that went positively for Cerberus, but that was a lot of 𝗂𝗏𝗺s damage. They don't have a great way to deal with him as the game goes on as well, since LL's gonna be just useless. 𝗁 picking up. Ooh, okay. They want to try and get him further behind. He's cleared the minion wave. It's a Graves on a dive, but it doesn't matter because Artemis will just shoot him down. Don't know about that flash, man.
Yeah, that was the typical 𝗊𝘁 flash. He tried. He really tried. And not the greatest. It's just 1 kill back. You should honestly just be there, sit there and say, okay, my team is going to get something on the other side, and they are.
Oh, LL trying to get away. Might just about do it, but no. Valor gets that last little peck.
Yeah, as I just said. My team is going to get stuff on the other side of the map. You are wasting your time killing me. I'm going to scale anyway. It doesn't matter that I die here. So that should have been 𝗊𝘁's mentality. He wanted a little bit too much with the flash there, but his team definitely paid back for his death. Got a kill on top side, got a turret in mid lane, and is going to get another one.
No. Oh no, Yulwei.
It's a disaster. No. This whole game is wow. Cerberus seems to have collapsed.
This passage of play is an utter collapse out of Cerberus. They have lost everything for 1 kill on 𝗊𝘁. Artemis is wanting to make it 2, but he's got the grabber to him. He just wants to take the kill. But Ashe does a little bit more damage at the moment.
Yep. very nicely done. 𝗬𝗏𝗻 paying him back for the early ambush on him when he walked into his lane, and the two people just killed him instantly. So now now it was his turn, and maybe this could be a little bit of a comeback from the bot lane position. 𝗬𝗏𝗻 was the superstar player in the first half for Cerberus. 𝗬𝗏 kind of overtook him towards the end of the split, but 𝗬𝗏𝗻 was our outstanding mid-split MVP. So maybe he can carry his team to a reverse sweep here. But they are behind in Game 3 and 0-2 down in the series. Haven't won a single game in playoffs. And you have to remember, this is the first time in ages Cerberus has actually made playoffs.
Ever, I think.
Ever. Yeah, maybe
Ever.
even ever. It's very disappointing. After starting 6-0, not winning a single game in playoffs would be devastating for the organization. And honestly, especially in the manner they are playing the games in. Not this game as much, maybe, but all the other games, even against GUM, the big favorites to win the split. They had some very close early games. They won some early games. They should have won the second game today. They they could have won the first one too. And instead, they're looking at an 0-5 score, now 2-point-something K gold down.
Oh. Okay, 𝗬𝗏𝗻 is dead.
Never mind,
That's
3K
trade.
gold down.
1 for 1. Oh, it's a 1 for 1, at least. So, still only 2K. Okay.
Yeah, maybe looking ahead. No, never mind. No time for that.
𝗬𝗏𝗻, he's caught out. Am I ahead?
No.
Okay, I'm good. Okay. No worries. You were saying let's look ahead. My mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm tilted from the production issues, but go ahead.
Yeah, fair enough. I just wanted to use the moment of no action that was then rudely interrupted by Graves inting away a kill to talk about the rest of the playoffs. But let's first look at this nice solo kill from TH. Wow, he showed his KDA dancing skills there. Just very quick. I mean, 𝗬𝗏𝗻
is dead.
Why am I even talking?
Roto P wants to trade it back, but misses absolutely everything. There is an exhaust. The blinding assault misses, and they will at least get something back.
Shutdown over to Ronopi. Perfect. Nice. Cerberus has to be so tilted from this game. It has not gotten their way. And they are falling further and further behind. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 is, of course, much quicker than 𝘁𝗀, so 𝘁𝗀 can't really do much. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 is the one play we have to look to. I talked about 𝗬𝗏𝗏 being the potential carry, but honestly, 𝗬𝗏𝗏 quietly going to a very strong position, 8 stacks on the Rod of Ages, and full stack tier already. So he could be the one to deal all the AoE damage and maybe bring Cerberus to a Game 4.
I mean, we were talking about the potential of 𝗬𝗏𝗏 when he was 3-1, and he's just all of a sudden he's died.
Oh, 3-4. Oops.
Yeah, like where did these deaths come from? I remember 2 of them. I don't remember the third. Yeah, he's suffering a little bit of the mid-game collapse, but there is still rise potential.
For sure.
Always potential.
They are behind 3K, but you have to take into account that the enemy team has a very wonky teamfight composition, double ADCs and very squishy members. They are not really great in front-to-back teamfights, so maybe if Cerberus can make this game...
He wants this kill, and kaboom!
What?
Go Quinn! Realm Warp forward, they want to keep this one going. 𝘁𝗀's going to be the target. The Black Shield just stops the Ash Arrow and the flash away from the battle.
But this is still Baron? Yeah, they have a lot of Baron damage. They have 𝗬𝗏𝗏 with a blue buff, so you can spam this Baron to death. You can see 400 damage on the Baron with every single Q. Oh, that is such a fast Baron. 𝘁𝗀 no flash as you just saw. He has smite though. There's a blast gun, but he's too far away.
Yep, 𝘁𝗀 goes in, doesn't get enough done. That's a huge 𝗚𝗏𝗏 assault, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's tagged up with that flux, and 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 is getting the shots on him, slowing him down. TH wants to make the play. Oh, can he get anything done? No, he's ulting the other way. LL cleans him up, and Cerberus might just have the rise potential to get back in this one.
And they are still here to play. They don't want to go out of the playoffs 0-6. They want to at least win a game, start with a game victory, and then you can look ahead. Maybe it's another one, and then a third one for the series. You never know. This is finally a good Baron for Cerberus. They actually got another very good Baron in Game 1, a very quick Baron sneak. And they still have to secure the game victory, but that was a decisive fight. One-shotting 𝘁𝗀, basically. 𝗫𝗫𝗪 is not on the item breakpoints to really do anything here. We saw a decent ultimate. Infernum ult, of course, got nerfed, I think, 3 or 4 times the lifespan of Aphelios, so it's not there anymore. The damage is just not really... 2-item Aphelios is not going to kill everyone anymore, so that's a good sign for anyone but EVOS. 3-item Aphelios, 4-item Aphelios could still do the magic.
Yeah, when he gets to that full several centuries, you might be able to get something done, but 𝗂𝗄 is already scary. Like, that last Q on 𝘂𝗓 in the top lane?
560, I believe.
Just stopped existing. Like, what? He just exploded. This is now going to be Ocean Soul point as well. Ocean Soul, a huge one against his team, honestly. Really allows them to do a lot in the fights, and Yulwei. Cerberus, apparently if they don't get ahead in the early game, that might be how they win games.
Maybe. I like how 𝗂𝗄 is stepping up in the last 2 games. Of course, he had some very bad team fights on the Zoe in the last one, but you can't disregard his early game. He went 6-0-7, I believe. He was absolutely insane. That was very close. Cerberus looked like he was going to get hit, but skinny enough to avoid that one. Also had the cleanse available still, so probably fine anyway.
Yeah.
Cerberus is just so much stronger as a group of 5. They also want 𝗂𝗄 on level 16, so he's just pushing in the top wave, while 4 members going to push mid and EVOS.
But there is a
want to strike here.
𝘂𝗓 is in that behind enemy lines. 𝘁 diving on forward. He's still squishy though, but th, he's doing a lot of damage. They'll get the first kill onto 𝘂𝗓. They're all melting away, and no! Beginning to believe 𝗂𝗓 can't land the overloads, and oh my god, that's a triple kill for 𝘂𝗓.
It's a 5-for-0 ace. How?
hope
You
is
have to be
broken.
kidding me. It's a 5-for-0 ace against Baron, against level 16 Rise. Okay, you teleported in pretty late, but
it
what?
was Infernum ult plus Akali damage. That was absurd. 𝘁, be careful. Okay, he doesn't have
Also,
Baron
very good
anymore.
positioning from
They're
𝘂𝗓, I
going for the win,
believe.
by the way. They're going for the win.
9 seconds on 𝘂𝗓. Oh, death timers are pretty short. They could run into some trouble. Yeah, I think that's the wise choice here. They just got back into the gold lead. They denied all of the Baron momentum, and going for the win here could work, but I think it's like a 10% chance. Why would you risk it? Why would you give the enemies the boost they are looking for so desperately after losing the first 2 games in devastating fashion? So I think this is the correct choice for EVOS. Well, let's look at this team fight. Can we slow it down? My, how did this happen? So TH with a lot of damage, and there's 1 target down already. LL drops unbelievably low because 𝘂𝗓 gets perfect positioning to attack him over and over again. And 𝗂𝗓 finally arrives, but as he rightfully pointed out, no Qs hit. I think not a single, or maybe 1. So doesn't deal the damage. If you can't hit the overloads, your damage is not really overloaded. So unfortunate there for 𝗂𝗓. He could have carried the fight maybe if he arrived a little bit later in a better position. Level 16 Rise on these item breakpoints can for sure kill almost anyone in EVOS. And that's still a little bit of a something EVOS needs to keep in mind. This is still a very strong Rise.
So we do have to resync again. A little bit annoying. We're gonna pause it. Let's say 25:45. Spoods, can you count us down? It will be a little bit of an action-packed moment. There we go, we're back in, and as we come in, 𝘂𝗓 is going for the dive onto LL, but the smoke screen is a big one, and 𝘂𝗓 brings the damage. Well
Yeah, you
done
can't
there, they get one back.
I don't think you can cleanse the smoke screen effect, so...
You can cleanse the slow, which is what he was trying to do. He tried to get out of the slow and run out of the smoke screen.
Fair enough. Not able to do so. Maybe a little bit overzealous there, diving behind the turret. I don't think he can even kill LL in the 1v1 there, if LL stays close to his turret. So 𝘂𝗓 once again showing some of his tendencies. He's 7-3, he got a triple kill in the last fight, so cut him some slack. He's a very strong boy, he's very, very dominant in the side lane. He's even strong in team fights now with the crit itemization. So we have to look out for him. He's still very squishy though, and if 𝗂𝗓 gets him to a good position to get Qs on either ADC, maybe on both, then he could still just one-shot the ADCs on the other side.
He's never going to get them on both, though. They're not going to be in the same place.
Most likely not.
Like,
That's true.
𝗳𝗏 is always going to enter the fight from a flank, while 𝗘𝗀𝗧𝗏 is a 𝗱𝗏𝗺 and just sits in the back and does stupid amounts of damage. It's a hard carry. It's really difficult game for 𝗬𝗏 to carry. We saw Cerberus win that last team fight, which was mostly a front-to-back fight with a lot of burst damage. Went 5 for 0. Unreal. This is hard, Cerberus. What do they even do?
So there is one
Fight
out.
around Drake, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. 30 seconds to their 𝗁𝗁𝗀. This could be the one thing that can keep them alive in the playoffs in this series and their whole world's chances and also their whole year. Well, they tried. That was a good attempt. I actually don't mind this too much. They tried to get on 𝗘𝗀𝗧𝗏. 𝗘𝗀𝗧𝗏 runs away. Oh, what?
Oh,
whoa, that's a
𝗬𝗏
flash.
Way too deep. That's ridiculously aggressive. He wanted that one. Up in the top side, TH has taken a tower. Has the teleport. They're teleporting in to reinforce him. They're going for a base race.
Yeah, that's TH and 𝗁𝗏𝗏s, and they are going to...
Oh,
okay.
Really bold. I don't think this works. They get it in him, but it's 𝗁𝗁𝗀.
It's 𝗁𝗁𝗀. Yeah, it is, but it's also barren for EVOS, so they trade a lot of gold and map control for 𝗁𝗁𝗀. This basically means EVOS does not want to avoid 5v5 fights, because 𝗁𝗁𝗀 is so strong in 5v5s. Makes a lot of sense with their composition, but if you can spread the map thin, never go into a 5v5, then an 𝗁𝗁𝗀 is not going to do much.
Yulwei, they might buy enough time with that Bard ult. It's only on 2k health. Can
It's only
𝗬𝗏𝗏
from
get close
TH.
enough? No, it's not going to. There is the fight. He didn't have smite. Ah, scary.
Scary, but now 5k gold lead for EVOS. They are fighting against 𝗁𝗁𝗀. Well, we have seen teams with 𝗁𝗁𝗀 lose, and we saw them lose in a team fight 5 for 0 for some reason. So, EVOS, I kind of like the decision. I think it's very creative to not go for the 𝗁𝗁𝗀 fight. It's kind of risky. You can lose the 𝗁𝗁𝗀 fight and then lose 𝗁𝗁𝗀 anyway. They said, okay, have your 𝗁𝗁𝗀. We know it's a strong objective, but we are just going to take an inhibitor and the Baron, and that's better than 𝗁𝗁𝗀. We have to see if that is true. It's definitely a gamble, but they have a lot of map control now.
Yeah, they absolutely do. So now, what are we doing if we're Cerberus? How does Cerberus get through this 2 minutes to where their buffs matter more?
They need to control the side lanes against 𝗁𝗁𝗀s, who's going to perma-push the inhibitors and inhibitor waves. As you can see, just hit the base. Cerberus is going to give up this turret, so another bit of standing gold into the pockets of EVOS. Look at 𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏's itemization. He's sitting on almost 4 items
𝗁𝗏𝗏s.
again. He can
𝗁𝗏𝗏s
do
is
whatever he
just
wants.
Duking them around, but he's just making sure they can't wave clear. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 has to be there to answer the Quinn, and he's all the wave clear. This is very well played. They're going to try and kill him, but he's 𝗁𝗁𝗏𝗁𝗏𝗏. He's gone.
And that's
So
another
is
inhibitor
the
open.
inhib.
3 inhibitors and the
black
game is
shield
over.
Onto the black shield onto the tempered fate. In goes 𝗁, diving on forward. TH is golden. LL is low, but manages to get to the fountain. And now TH is super overextended. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 has a big shield. He's dealing a lot of damage, but he's going to go down. It's 2 for 2 at the moment. 3 inhibs is going to be the very least EVOS get. They want the Nexus. They want the series, and they want to show that the losers bracket was not where they belonged. As now, they're very low. 𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗏 has access to that Severum, but LL goes forward onto him, pops that Dominus as he's trying to get there. They're doing so much damage. Look at 𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗏, Yulwei. Look at 𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗏. He's carving them up left, right, and center. 𝗱𝗏𝗏𝗀, my dude.
Oh!
He finally gets shut down. It's turning around. It's only 𝗁 left alive. The Nexus is exposed. Nothing on the map, but Cerberus live to fight another day.
And if Cerberus go on from this point to win this game, to win the series, people are going to hate 𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗏 because he just threw away their chance at ending this game, at least in this push. He could have just not dived behind the Nexus turret and could have just waited for his minions to do the job for him, because they still had Baron buff active. Baron buff, of course, now gone, because there's no one to carry the Baron buff. And Cerberus lived to fight another, let's say, 2 minutes, because it's still 3 inhibitors down. I don't believe it's going to be another day, because winning from this position, even with a late game Rise, even with a late game Ashe on good items, not easy, not in the slightest.
No, this is not easy. Oh, this is a rough one for Cerberus to come back from, even with those heroics.
They
Yulwei.
got a lot of gold though,
Is it
and look at the
possible?
items. They have
Is
to
it
weather the
possible?
storm for 5 minutes, right? They have to wait. You can only hope to win a game if your inhibitor stand. So there's always they will be able to clear waves very effectively with a rise, but there's a very annoying objective that's going to spawn in 1 minute and 40 seconds, and that's still when all the inhibitors will still be down, and you can't push out waves against triple inhibitors. So somehow they need to steal the Elder Dragon, and I don't know how,
Wow.
but there's a TP
Well,
first.
I don't even know if it's going to spawn as Sorn wants to get the party started. TH follows it up. 𝗁𝗏 very, very low on this Graves. As everyone goes gold from the Bard ult, TH dives into the back line, dealing a lot of damage. There's the 𝗂𝗏𝗺 ult to get the Chakram stacking up. He's done a lot, but the first kill will be Cerberus's favor. 𝗂𝗏 wants to get it, goes for the cleanse, lots of damage onto Ron OP. They're getting towards the Nexus now, but 𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃, he's getting chunked down, goes into the Guardian Angel, and it's so hard to call who'll come out on top here, but it looks like Cerberus might
It's
win
𝗂𝗏𝗺.
another fight. Full kill for 𝗂𝗏𝗺. 𝗁𝗏, the last man standing, and now just clear the minions. Get them out of your base.
And the top lane inhibitor respawned. You are not dealing with double super minion waves anymore. Now we can actually take your time and push out the waves, because against one super minion, that's not too hard, especially with this level 18 rise, sitting on an unbelievable amount of damage. As you can see, these super minions don't stand any chance, so this is dangerous for EVOS now. We saw this kind of situation in game 1 already, with one team overextended into the enemy team's base, and the other team came out on top. So it's definitely still a good position for EVOS to win this fight, but they can't keep running at them head first into level 18 rise. It's not advisable. Please stop. They are able to push out the waves here. Rise should take a little bit more time. Oh no, they want to rush this dragon, and they have good positioning on it. So
It's a risky decision. There's no teleports up on the other side. They know that. It'll go down fast. Sorn is close, but it goes into the Bard ult. It should be the free Elder. Oh!
did you see that? Perfect Bard ultimate to stop Sorn approaching. There was, I think, was it blind? I believe there was a blind Bard ult.
𝗁𝗏, he wants the inhib at least. This is risky. Realm Warp. I think he's just going to die. Oh no, they've got Elder. He goes down.
That's it. He's dead.
That was
Now
not
Baron is going to
necessary.
spawn soon. There was just a lot of in from 𝗁𝗏. I just I thought about the last two team fights and considered him as my play of the series, but there's a lot of int still in his system too. Mid lane inhibitor is going to respawn. As you can see on the map, there's no super minion wave anymore in mid lane, so that's going to come up in 30 seconds too. Another one is going to respawn in bot lane. As you can see, the next wave after this one has no super minion either, so 30 seconds from now, all the inhibitors will be standing. All the objectives in Cerberus' favor. They still have Ocean Soul, they have a gold lead. Could be happening. We could see, I think, our second game this split, down from triple inhibitor into a victory.
I don't know, man. It's still a long way to go. Any mistake, and Cerberus instantly dies. If
True.
they do
And-
this,
It's a big momentum shift. It could be the way to a reverse sweep. All three games look very similar in my opinion, by the way. Very close to the late game. Everything has been going to 38 minutes. So the third one, if this is another EVOS win, Cerberus need to lock off Lake for like 2 weeks at least to get the tilt out of the system, because that is not going to be easy to stomach. But you don't have to think about this now.
this should count as
'cause-
2. This should count as 2 if you win.
Oh, good flash.
𝗁𝗏, not again. He flashes, but it's still a Bard. The magical journey comes in. 𝗁𝗏, he can deal the burst damage, get that dragon to roar, and this can't be happening, man.
Another pick. They haven't accomplished anything in terms of objectives taken with these dragons and barons, but they've at least stalled the game. No, not a single turret is standing for EVOS. For Cerberus, of course. And they have only killed 3 turrets, or destroyed 3 turrets, so it's a long way into the enemy team's base. But this could be the start. One of the biggest comebacks we have seen. Oh no, 𝗃𝗃𝗃 is going to take at least an inhibitor here.
They've got Baron recall. He'll get the inhib. No,
Oh,
he doesn't
never
even
mind.
get that. Leave
Now he has to
two.
run.
It's 𝗂𝗄. He's charging forward onto B. This is risky. If 𝗂𝗄 dies, the game ends instantly. The redemption comes in. He's got a big shield, but 𝘁𝗀 wants to lock it down. He's dead.
He's
Can
dead.
𝘂𝗏𝗏 get anything done? TH is low. He has to just proc the Elder. He does it. The shots are coming in. B is the only one standing. 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗃 hasn't recalled. Hit the tower, 𝘂𝗏𝗏, surely.
So tower down. They get a few kills. 𝗂𝗄 is down though, so they can't really advance further. Do they still want to though? They could look for an inhibitor for themselves. It's a full AD carry for 𝘂𝗏s. He has been going down to a lot of the ganks, but he still can deal a lot of damage. Not to speak of 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃, who has an unbelievable amount of damage under his belt. And they want to go for the finish here. They still have Baron.
This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable, Yulwei. 3 inhibs and both Nexus towers down. Aphelios ult hasn't done enough. 1 tower falls. 𝗂𝘂𝗺, this is unbelievable that you're about to lose this game. Nexus exposed, and there was nothing left, Yulwei. And Cerberus take the win. Oh my god!
You need to take the Nexus. The turrets, the inhibitors, not enough. The Nexus is all that matters. And Cerberus win their first ever playoff game in unbelievable fashion. That is a big reset for the whole series, and I believe they still have something to fight for. There is still a lot of life left in this team, and this could be the start of one of the greatest reverse sweeps we have ever seen.
This is unreal. This is ridiculous. We need a break. We'll be back in a few minutes with our analysts who are going to have to really think hard about that one. Cerberus, make us have a game 4. We'll be back soon.
As a great man once said, we take those. And Cerberus is definitely taking that, as they managed to get they managed to take their first playoff win against EVS in quite the turnaround. And I think the thing we have to highlight is probably was this the correct move from EVS? And that is auto-attacking the Nexus. No. Other than auto-attacking the Nexus, it was, is Ocean Soul ever worth giving up? And Yulwei, you made a case that maybe it was worth giving up. And for that hot second, it looked like it was. So,
yeah, I think...
But
yeah, I still believe it was the correct decision. The decision there, they got a lot of gold out of it. They got a lot of map control. They got all the 3 inhibitors afterwards, and it should have won the game once again. We're sitting here and staring at the screen where the team that should have won lost the game. So, I mean, they were very close to closing this game out. For some reason, they then didn't wait 1 more minute for the Elder Dragon to spawn, and instead tried to just force the team at the end. Gave the enemy team enough time to push out the waves, get the Elder Dragon, get the Baron, and lost ultimately against Ocean Soul. So it looked like Ocean Soul was better, but in my opinion, if they let just close, if 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃 doesn't run behind the Nexus to troll and run into Renekton and stun, I think they win the game right there, and the series is over.
And Jensen, what's your take on it?
Well, I don't think it's as simple as is Ocean Soul worth giving or not. And let's take a deeper look into what happens when you give an Ocean Soul, right? And I think that this brings 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃's itemization into question, where now you have a Rise that doesn't have innate sustain within his kit. The only thing that he gets in terms of getting health back is Eternity, and if he goes for the Conqueror rune, then he gets healing from Conqueror. He went for Face Rush this game, so by right in the DPS fight, the Rise loses to the Aphelios. But because of the Ocean Soul, all of a sudden Rise has a pseudo lifesteal effect. But because of the build that 𝗃𝗃𝗃 went for, which is to go for the crit for maximum burst damage, he doesn't have the ability to straight up fight against the Rise in the DPS fight, and that's where I think they misjudged it, especially when they were going for the last push against the Nexus. They saw the Rise, they thought, okay, maybe we can win this fight. 𝗃𝗃𝗃 goes in, commits to the fight, gets bursted down by Renekton, and he CC'd, gets bursted down by the Rise with his combination. If he had went for a Bloodthirster, if he had went for a Death Dance, I'm pretty sure they win those fights instead, on top of being able to get Executioners for a heal cut as well on their side. And I think that is where the Ocean Soul plays a part as well. And if you do give the Ocean Soul, you have to think about, okay, does the Rise become a 1v9 machine? Because now he all of a sudden has this insane amount of sustain in his kit that wasn't available to him previously.
All right, and we get to see EVOS try again as we go into this draft phase, and they will be on the red side this time. We saw them on blue for the past 2 games. We shall see what their strategy is on this, as we see the same sort of bans coming out so far.
Kind of frees up one ban for EVOS, or at least gives more credibility to the Caitlyn ban, because usually it's a red side ban. So they have been banning Caitlyn on blue side as well. Now moving to red side and banning away the TF. What is going to be their third one? 𝘂𝑐𝗱. So a lot of mid lane focus, trying to hurt 𝘂𝗷, who is the main carry. And we all agree that if Cerberus is to come back, he's going to be this player of the series. If we don't have some miracle performances from other members. But he had an outstanding last 2 games, even though his 𝘂𝗍 team fighting later on was kind of lacking. Let's see what he wants to go for in this game. Ryze was nice, and we know he can play almost every mage in the game.
And we are seeing the salty run back. No, we are seeing the set lock in on the side of EVOS. And this Renekton has been high priority, and the ban on 𝗂𝗎𝗔 𝗂𝗏, they felt that was very impactful in these past couple.
Oh, no, please, don't go for the champion. I don't like it if EVOS goes for the Ashe. So you guys are seeing an Ashe purple, right? So I don't like the fact that they've locked the Ashe. This is not within the team identity of EVOS. Perhaps maybe because they see the Kagyu ban out, and they feel that Ashe is a little bit harder to answer. And so far, I'll put it this way, right? So far, Cerberus is not doing themselves any favors. If you see an Ashe, you don't want to be going for Graves, you don't want to be going for Renekton, then you have already picked into reference, so you don't have a choice for that. Orianna is decent to Ashe, and I think that now that they've moved to the top side of the map, now EVOS can try to figure out, okay, what can they kind of play through on the bottom side of the map. They have enforcement like jungler. If they do not have any ways to really gank the Ashe and find kills on the Ashe to break the laning pressure, the Ashe can take over the game. But then the question is EVOS able to execute as Ashe?
I'm a big fan of the Orianna pick here. I think 𝘂𝗷 has identified that TH is not going to be able to have any pick that counters or holds up to the Orianna. TH, of course, not a traditional mid laner, so it's unlikely that we see something like 𝘂𝗍, maybe a Syndra. Maybe he can play Syndra, a lot of overall.
He can do set.
Yeah, but the set is... I think Set still most likely loses lane, especially later on into Orianna, so could flex the Set into mid lane, of course. Could also go for something very tanky and just a handshake lane, maybe.
Again.
Yeah, Sylas into Orianna is always a little bit questionable, because your ult is kind of useless, and Orianna can control the waves and auto-attack you to death. But that's a Gnar for Zeros. A different approach. This time not the lane counter, or a little bit less of the ultimate lane counter in terms of Quinn, but more teamfight focus on Gnar, and still a good matchup. Decent matchup, let's say.
Going to see the Jhin and the Bard as the counter to that Ashe. And we will see, what will we see out of B? Do we see the Set to B? Do we see this Pantheon go to B? Do we see Shen?
Oh,
I'm surprised he isn't going for trash. I'm surprised he isn't going for trash.
It's still picking, right? You could still lock it in. What do you think, Jensen?
Well, the way this drop is panning out, if I'm gonna cover the nameplate, I feel that this favors EVS. And if I'm gonna think of the nameplates again, surprise, I still favor EVS in this matchup, right? This is what they want to do. This enables them to get 1-3-1. They've got 2 globals. The Ashe ability to play towards the lane is not necessarily the most important thing, but I do feel that with the mid jungle tool that they have, they should be able to enforce the bot side while leaving top lane on the island of swords, because 𝘂𝗫𝗎𝗄𝗏 is not necessarily the best tool to set up and dive the Gnar.
So we're expecting EVS to play this time a little topsy-turvy and away from 𝗳𝗏, but we will see how this plays out in real time with Everyday and Yulwei.
I'm surprised everyone thinks it's going to be that away from 𝗳𝗏. Gnar can be a lane bully. He's ranged. Get that frozen mallet, chasing people down. Maybe not against Renekton, but still.
The matchup is one of those many ranged matchups into Renekton that are kind of 50-50. So if nothing happens, if the Renekton doesn't get a nice drop on the enemy ranged champion, the ranged champion is going to slowly accumulate a CS advantage. But there's always the risk that something goes wrong and LL finds the engage on 𝗳𝗏 and then just one-shots him and bullies him out of lane. And if there's a kill for the Renekton, this matchup gets horrible for Gnar because he can't even go to the wave. So I think Gnar is slightly favored, but it's actually kind of... it's definitely not the Quinn matchup where Renekton can't ever do anything. Especially in early levels, mini Gnar is very, very squishy and vulnerable.
Ooh.
That's a 3-man and wait on the blue buff. Could be a smite fight to start the game off.
Oh, surely not your way. 𝗁𝗏 was on this side of the map. They read this. Another spear comes out, doesn't land. 1,000 health on this blue buff as it walks back again. It's going to reset soon. And I think that's what Cerberus are going to have happen. And just, I guess, both junglers start really slow.
Yeah, that is... both junglers kind of agreed to let the blue buff reset and not go for the smite fight. The smite fight can ruin one of the two sides, so no one really wants to go for that. You need to be a little bit of a psychopath if you want to go for that smite fight to decide the whole early game. Instead, both junglers going back to their respective jungles. Of course, 𝗁𝗏 was closer to his camp, so he's going to have a little bit of a head start and be a little bit quicker on the map, most likely. The ward is also not going to spot him if he's either if he wants to invade. So let's see what he does with this early start. We'll hit level 3 of the next camp and could look for a red buff invade as the Nidalee just finished her very first camp.
Yeah. 𝗁𝗏 starting off well, as you said. So where are we looking in this one? As 𝗳𝗏, yeah, he's a ranged champion early in the game. He's level 3 before LL's level 2. Smacks him with that rock, and what did I say about Gnar potentially being a lane bully?
Nice results-based analysis there. Juicy.
Hey, I said it before it happened. I didn't say it after. That's
true.
just
True. The results-based.
It is.
I'm not sure what it's called, but it definitely
getting a
did
few
go...
punches into Yado as well. But go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it did go much better than it should have gone. I think I'll either... so there's two options. Either you try to sack the early few levels and don't go for any trades. It's fair. It's fair. You're playing against a range disadvantage, so why not? You can try to just evacuate to your turret.
This is going to be a real play. Yulwei's Run OP goes low, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be a 1v3. Oh, they're going to go forward though, and they get the double kill. Oh no, Yulwei! Oh god, no! They get 3.
The Baker is so strong in the early game. Look at this Pantheon just 1v2ing the enemy bot lane. Oh my.
He got that bread.
Oh, well, that is such a horrible start. And they are going to continue with this one.
Oh, they come in on Yado. Flash for flash. Spear doesn't land.
That's a 2k gold lead at 4 minutes. 3 kills in favor of EVS. They teleported 𝗳𝗏 in for some reason. I think he wanted to steal a kill or two, as he always likes to do. Well, let's look at this. So B gets the first W on Run OP. Stacks his Conqueror. Let's see if Conqueror actually stays stacked here. Yeah, I think
it does because he landed the spear.
Yeah. So Conqueror all the time. That's 12 AD more than he should have. So he is actually basically full carry Pantheon at this point. He gets the first kill. 𝗬𝗛𝗎 dies to him too. Extra damage, of course.
But the VCS replay curse Yulwei. We can't forget about that, as 𝗬𝗎 will take down Set. So at least Cerberus answering back with something.
Yeah, nice counter kill. They want to reset the wave into, or push the wave into the turret to reset it, have it reset for a nice recall. Timing there for the other, though, as he already used his teleport, of course. So that's a little bit of reprieve for the mid lane. And everything else is still going well for EVOS. So one kill back on TH. It's not going to be too much of an issue. By the way, Grace has managed to already fall behind again because he went for an early gank. A very sinful gank on a champion that should not try to sin. So
he got the kill.
Did he? No, I mean the bot lane gank where he died. So,
of course, yeah. Fair enough.
See,
Well,
that's a very good angle to come in on this gank, and yeah, I mean, TH is just dead. Nothing you can do. He kind of banked on the fact that his jungler would be over there soon, but yeah, then 𝘂 looked at the situation and reconsidered his options and just went back into his own jungle.
So, look, you must be feeling pretty bad with Cerberus getting off to this bad start. They've got two of your favorite champions. We'll come back to it. After LL is
dead.
dove, the spear has landed. Yeah, he's going to get made into a steak.
Not a back this time. Well, why not?
I said bag a lot.
We had too many backs? Okay.
Exactly. I kept saying bag last game, so now it's steak. Crocodile's pretty nice. It tastes like chicken.
He's taking it all the time, too. I'm not sure how that... How does that work?
Like
why does it taste like chicken? I didn't understand.
It's because it's white. It's white meat. It's white meat.
Fair enough.
White meat.
It's a long time ago that I actually tasted chicken, so I have no idea.
Fair enough.
So another kill to EVOS. That was a very successful dive, and they're back to it. They're 2k gold lead, looking very strong in both solo lanes, especially top lane, of course, and bot lane far ahead. This, I'm super interested to see what B does with the next big power spike, level 6, going to hit soon. And we see some pinks in mid lane. They are setting up a little bit of a roam into mid. 𝗂𝗏 has no flash. B has his flash. But a good 𝘁ci𝗱𝘆 bloom there from 𝗏 spots this rotation, so it shouldn't succeed here at all. 𝗂𝗏 very safe with his positioning. And B is not level 6 yet, so he can't really try to starfall on top of 𝗂𝗏. He has to flash W. So that's easier to spot, of course.
Of course.
Still going to be...
It is
yeah.
The Drake. Yeah. As I was about to say, Drake being picked up here for EVOS. They are using their early lead, which is pretty massive. 8 minutes, 2k gold. The bot lane looking pretty sad. It's full boots against a couple swords. And of course, Jhin already such a hard carry in team fights. Really a 𝗱𝗲𝗍-like DPS.
Please stop. Please stop.
People are going to think I'm serious. Just to clarify, not true.
Yeah, it's once again the Jhin. Oh my, this bot top lane is a disaster. Okay, Xerath wants to go for the dive.
Yeah, he does, but the rock doesn't quite get the kill.
That's
and
awkward.
Nah, famously a lane bully, continues to bully. As Xerath now has to find a way out. Can he get the jump?
He's dead.
No, 𝗬𝗎 should be able to kill him. He goes back into mini, though. He could get the hop. He's going to go for it. There it is, but collateral damage cleans up the little boy.
Xerath. I think half of the Xerath's death, his whole career, most likely, are just situations like that, where he goes for maybe a little bit, he gets a little bit too far, dominated his lane, got a very good trade-off, tries to go for the dive, and then gets hit by 3 turret shots and punished by a very nice rotation from 𝗬𝗎, who gets another kill. He's now 2-1, and last game, he was decently impactful on Grace. For Grace, he was actually very, very impactful.
Ooh, TH is in some trouble, but it is still a set. Shockwaved back. He gets the big shield, but I don't think there's any way he gets out of this one. B wants to save him, but can't do anything.
And TH is very unfortunate in this game. He's always playing kind of... Oh, never mind me.
Speaking of unfortunate, it might be EVOS as they're getting turned around here. 𝘂 has to flash out, but 𝗬𝗎 will go down. This is a full carry Pantheon as he's got 3 kills here at 9 minutes.
They still underestimate the damage of this Pantheon. Understandably so. He's a support. He just hit level 6, but he also had 2 kills under his belt, so he hurts. He just bursted down another target. Now 3-0, as he pointed out. But yeah, I want to come back to the TH point. Twice now he has died while kind of expecting his jungler to have his back. Because Someone is always in the vicinity. He was just doing.
Hello, 𝗂𝗗𝗕𝗏. He'll be targeted. 𝗂𝗂𝗽𝗏, the benefactor of that play.
Yeah, he was just doing Herald, so he thought his jungler would be able to go there and assist him with any kind of play, but not quite the case, and they get another kill back, so now all is good for TH. He's 0-2, but he's not there to get the kills, right? He's tank set mid lane. He's just a little bit of a meat shield and playmaking champion. He doesn't want any kills. It's actually better to have the kills on the support this game than on the mid laner, most likely.
Yeah, it's very true. And this is going out to a pretty strong lead, it has to be said, as Herald was picked up as well. They don't actually drop it in the top lane. I thought they might give that a go. But at the same time, taking this top lane tower might not actually be a good decision. 𝘂𝗏 can potentially win the lane harder if LL can't farm super far back.
Early game leads have been a little bit of a curse this series, if you're honest. Both teams winning from behind so far, most of the games, especially game 2 and game 3. So,
what do you mean?
Maybe.
𝘂𝗏 was never even close to losing last game.
True. There was all their turrets were still very solid and defending the Nexus.
You are right, of course. Yeah, we'll have to see if they can.
Yeah, but a 3k gold lead at 11 minutes plus Herald plus Dragon is quite a big lead, and EVS should be able to snowball this into a much bigger one with this Herald. This should be first to it, and LL can't really do anything about this. We see a little bit of rotations upwards from Cerberus. They want to defend this one, but Bart nowhere close, and no Bart denial.
He goes very low. You know 𝘂𝗏.
He almost died to the boomerang there.
He nearly did.
And there was absolutely no need for him to step forward. Maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit too much with the splitting hairs about LL's positioning and play in the top lane, but I feel like he has kind of brought this onto himself.
𝘂𝗏. Oh, he's done it again, Yulwei. This is the most 𝘂𝗏 death ever. Yes.
Almost the counter kill. But yeah, it's once again 𝘂𝗏 pushing for no reason after the turret is already down. He wanted one more wave, greeted for the Black Cleaver completion. Now he's just sitting on another longsword and gave a kill over to his lane opponent who he had kept down so nicely. So this is once again not great. 𝘂𝗏 almost gets the counter kill there. I believe, I'm not even sure what killed him. Maybe 𝘂𝗏 isn't sure either.
Looked like a song. Well, hopefully that gets resolved fast enough. We'll find out. So, what are your impressions of this early game so far? It's obviously EVS powering ahead. Is the gold going to the right places? How can Cerberus get back into this one?
The big problem for Cerberus is they kind of lost both sides, right? Usually, when one team focuses on one side, you have a little bit of a numbers advantage on the other side. That's just natural, right? 3 people on top side against 4 people on bot side or something like that. In this game, they lost top side just because of the 1-1 matchup, then a little bit reinforced later on by Italy, and also lost bot side because of a botched gank early on. So they're in a lot of trouble because they can't really play through either side. These kills on 𝘂𝗏 might bring Renekton into a position where you can at least go even, and you can ignore top lane to focus more on bot side and maybe try to correct some of the early mistakes. The 3-0-1 Pantheon is going to be a pain to deal with for sure. But I feel like Cerberus has to find some ways in the bot lane, because mid lane, even though 𝗂𝗏 is our main carry and we have identified him as the linchpin for Cerberus' success, he might not be on the proactive enough champion for the early game to really get him or to get the whole team into a position where 𝗂𝗏 can then shine in the late game fights. Because of course, that's what Orianna does, but not the most dominant champion early on.
Yeah, I think this Orianna is set up to be a very impactful champion in this game as well. The area denial, very strong, but EVS also looking very strong as they secure the second Drake.
Yeah, the bot side control is actually even worse. Oh, and there's a big arrow.
Oh, yeah. 𝘂𝗏 coming on in, gets the stun combo,
Oh,
and
come
𝗂𝗏
on.
barely gets to move.
you see that? Oh man, Zeros, come on, man. That's not okay. You're still in a playoffs match. You still haven't won that. Oh, the BM is real.
I didn't actually see what he did. I'm gonna be honest.
We're going to see it in the replay, of course. Yeah, Zeros did not take the kill. He could have taken the kill there. He waited for his bot lane to arrive and spent some emotions or whatever it is on Gnar that makes him move this way. We're going to see that again. But Zeros, he was in a very, very strong position, of course. 4k gold lead, 2 dragons, another plating in mid lane, and nothing they can do against this bot lane push either, so that's another plating, probably another one here. They are just mining a lot of gold off the turrets. Oh, platings just fell, so maybe even the whole turret. No replay?
I don't think I'll quite
Okay.
get the whole tower.
I guess I lied to everyone again. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I mean, other than potential tactical crouching, it wasn't that interesting a play. He
True.
didn't get to move.
It was a nice, it was a nice
was.
rotation from Zeros and a very nice arrow from 𝘂𝗧𝗏𝗀𝗃, so good coordination for sure.
It was well set up, but there's hardly too many mechanics to break down. It was
Very
just a
true.
stun combo.
Very true.
Nothing 𝘂𝗷𝗏 could do.
And TH is setting up another play on 𝘂𝗷𝗏, but that's a good pink ward over the wall, so he can't. He has to just slowly walk away. He's heading top side right now, so just going to catch a wave, get to level 11 for a little bit of a stronger ultimate, of course. He's basically just there to collect all the farm. He's not really a very important member of the team, and I feel like TH the whole series so far has been a little bit of the farm collector, nothing else. On his 𝗂𝗏𝗧 games, he had some nice team fights, but honestly, he's really not the one to
𝗂𝗏𝗧 was pretty legit.
Yeah. His early games on the 𝗂𝗏𝗧s have been very quiet as well, where he's just farming up for later on. I like the 𝗂𝗏𝗧 ban heading into this third game. I think just seeing if he can perform on the same level on another champion is a smart move from Cerberus, but yeah, he's really not that important to the success of EVOS. And it looks right now is if EVOS is going to move into the next round, so we can ask the question, is TH mid lane good enough to win another one?
We'll have to find out as this game does go on. B, also a very big part of this one, has the Umbral Glaive, and 𝘁orn appears to be having some internet issues. That's not great.
Got resolved very quickly last time, so let's hope for the best. The game feels a little bit strange to me. It feels very slow, but it isn't actually not very slow. EVOS is dominating all facets of the game, but I believe that's why it feels slow, because Cerberus just can't do anything. Yeah, I think Cerberus is just outmatched in every single position. Maybe mid one-on-one is kind of even, but it doesn't matter because Set is never going to take the fight. So everything feels EVOS controlled, and they're just playing it pretty slowly. A fight here and there, maybe a dragon here and there, but Cerberus right now is just dreaming about the 5-item scenario. So just trying to farm as much as possible and hoping that they're going to get another chance at the team fight to get back into the series.
Can I get your opinion on something a bit more specific, Yulwei?
Of course.
I'm looking at the items at the moment. Do you like this Jhin build start? Serrated Dirk into BF sword. Don't finish any items.
Excuse me, what? He started Serrated Dirk?
Yeah, he went Serrated Dirk into BF sword. Do you like it? What do you think?
I mean, I don't like anything that starts with a champion Jhin, so I don't really care for his item builds, to be honest.
I think it's pretty bad.
I can see Serrated Dirk as an early lane item to get more pressure. I feel like it's pretty bad in this game, though.
Right? But normally you finish the Ghostblade. Ghostblade Jin's a thing, but you finish the Ghostblade.
Yeah, I feel like it's good from ahead. It's decent because you get a lot of lethality out of that item. 18 lethality early for the lane matchup against very squishy enemy ADs. Can go a long way to snowball the lane. But you're behind against a 2-0 Ashe that is 30 CS ahead. You're facing a 3-0 Pantheon that is not going to care about your lethality. So I think it's the wrong decision here. Should have taken these long swords into an Essence Reaver to try and scale. Scale on Jhin. But I mean, better than lethality.
Yes. So we will head over to our analyst desk while we are just waiting for this pause to resolve itself. Vinnie, Jensen, and Yulwei, take it away, boys.
Thank you, Everyday. And yes, we have hit a slightly unfortunate pause, but we have seen EVOS be in strong position this game thanks to a botched dive from the side of Cerberus. And Pantheon just too good. Pantheon Sport just too good. No, Jensen.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Pantheon, right? So Pantheon is something that I think 𝗁𝗏 Gaming Sparrow has been playing quite a fair bit, but even before that, the VCS region has been the one who has been very actively playing the Pantheon on the bot lane, initially with the Senna, and then with everything else, right? You go down there, and you're able to, you're somewhat deceptively tanky because you have true damage prevention with the empowered E. So the usual combo that you go for a Pantheon is that you stack up five stacks on your passive, start the W, you get a 3 auto attacks in, auto Q, and then into the E. And if you're able to do that regularly, in fact, you're actually very deceptively tanky, right? For 2.5 seconds, they are not able to damage you. And in that 2.5 seconds, it means that your E is kind of spraying at them, but more importantly, your AD carry is doing damage to them as well. And I think that's the thing about Pantheon that people underestimate, especially in the early game.
Feels to me like a mix of set support and Braum support. Because you're as tanky as Braum, but deal as much damage as set, or even more than that. So, for sure, very, very strong in laney phase. And ganking him maybe wasn't the greatest decision there, because he stacked his Conqueror even before the fight started. So he actually had at least a longsword extra AD there, and got to free fire all the time and got both the kills early on. So that was a very dangerous Pantheon.
The Pantheon obviously got the double kill and got to be the star, but shout out to 𝗃𝗃𝗃 for his positioning, being able to get away from the Graves and the Jin's damage. He was able to survive the whole thing. And yeah, I like Pantheon. He reminds me a lot in a way of when 𝘂𝗓lister was broken. You just sort of press a button and completely remove a player from the game. It was good times.
Well, sorry, you finish first.
No. I'm just sort of shit talking.
So I want to talk a little bit about 𝗃𝗃𝗃, right? So 𝗃𝗃𝗃, when he locked in Ashe, I was like, okay, this is not a 𝗃𝗃𝗃 champion. The win rate on Ashe isn't very high. Ashe requires you to play to its bot side. EVOS doesn't like to do that, right? Which might open up possibilities where they end up with a part roaming all over the map should they give the priority over to that. But I have to say so far, although they did kind of threaten the split map top side, EVOS has been rather effective in enabling the Ashe, and 𝗁𝗏𝗃's Bard has not been a very big factor this game, in which this should be a matchup where the Jhin and Bard should be able to push out and he should be able to impact the map. So I think kudos goes to 𝗃𝗃𝗃. They outplayed the gank, and so far they have been executing this pick fairly decently. But then the question then comes on in the later stages of the game, where if the Ashe will be able to position properly. So far he's played 2 games of affiliates. That's a similar immobile AD carry, and if 𝗃𝗃𝗃 can keep himself safe against the likes of Reactor and Grace, which I don't think is too difficult, he can actually be a very major carry factor in the later stages of the game. So I'm looking forward to this performance on the Ashe, and if I can retract my statement that EVOS is not an Ashe team and 𝗃𝗃𝗃 cannot play Ashe.
This game so far is looking like the most dominant, right? In terms of early game performance, this is a very, very strong one. All the lanes winning, basically. Mid lane, maybe not so much, but top lane and bot lane with a huge lead after their failed dive in bot lane. Both early Dragons over to EVOS, and they are actually not the worst team around Dragon Snowball if they get the first 2. So I think this is looking very good for EVOS, and even though they threw a big gold lead in the last one, I think this one looks much more secure.
Yeah, I think they will have learned their lesson from the last game and will, if in the same situation, just clean it out quite comfortably. And we did say this Na'V was going to be left to his island. They did, in fact, decide to play around him, give him that first gank from the mid lane, give him the first Herald, and he has. He's sort of run it down a little bit in true Zera fashion, but he's put a lot of pressure out, and he's put LL pretty far behind.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big lane bully, right? Zeros on the Gnar bullied him out of lane from minute 1 from the first wave. I'm not sure what 𝘚 is doing with his waves today. Last game as well, in the very first wave, he walked away, and then he decided to still walk up and get half of his HP was shredded from the Quinn. Basically, the same happened this game as well. He was very positioning very defensively, and then for some reason he still decided to walk up and take the trade into the Gnar instead of just staying back and waiting for the minions to crash into the turret. I think 𝘚 is having a very bad series so far, especially the last few games.
Well, I think that there's something that happened at level 1, right? Because of the late invade that happened, actually EVOS coordinated in a way where LL missed all 3 melee minutes.
Ah, that's true as well.
Right? And Zeros was able to pick up those 3 melee minutes because of the way that you were coordinating the early game invade. And I think that that's what put LL into the very dire situation where he's level 1 up against level 3. Most of the time you have been level 2 at a point, and then you have a second ability to be able at least to EQ in and then secure some of the sustain and get some of the CS for yourself. So I think that the level 1 invade, it did pay off in the favor of EVOS, despite it not kind of setting Soren slightly behind in terms of his clear speed in the jungle itself. And with regards to Zeros, this is a known factor, right? You know Zeros plays this way. He's going to play very aggressive. He's going to play very far up in the lane. He's going to run down Suntides. In some of the like the 𝘂𝗧𝗏 game in the first game, like in this game, he's going to pop up at times as well. And you're going to be able to rely on that. I think so far the way that Violet, perhaps this is why EVOS has some teething issues, right? Because before that, EVOS used to be a very stable team, and then they let Violet's draft do the work for them. And I think credit goes over to Violet and the EVOS coaching staff for being able to integrate Zeros, his strengths and his weaknesses, and be able to kind of cover for it. I wouldn't say that they've done the full package just yet. I wouldn't say EVOS is the perfect team right now, but in terms of integrating what Zeros brings to the table, into how EVOS wants to play, I think they've done a fairly decent job behind it, and I think that this can explain the reason why in the later stages of the season they have been doing a lot better as compared to where they were looking at the start, where they're dropping games to I believe it was %, and they're dropping games to the underdog teams in general, right?
For sure. I actually was very surprised when Zeros came into mid lane and there was the 𝘂𝗏 setup. He could have taken the kill, but instead he BM'd and let the kill go over to, I believe, 𝘂𝗏, or maybe the set. Yeah, 𝘂𝗏𝗏. So he actually didn't take the kill for himself, which would be a very Zeros move, right? He seems to be, seems to at least respect his teammates enough to give kills over to the ADC too, which is a very good sign, of course. So for sure, also excited to see what EVOS can do in the rest of the playoffs, because this one
isn't Xin anymore. So yeah. Well, the Spoods is going on a little bit longer than we expected, so we might chuck to a quick break if one is ready.
Think so.
So yes, we will in fact throw, and hopefully it will be much shorter than we anticipate.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the
Welcome back, everybody. The shortest break in the existence. Oh, I hope you enjoyed your 2 seconds off your way, because we're back in.
Oh man, our timing today is really horrible. Oh no. Okay, so let's look at the stats for a second. We actually have some individual gold stats right now. It's not the big lead in the top and jungle positions. It's quite a big lead in bot lane though. 2.5k for 𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗏 and about 2,000 for B. So that's 4.5k off the lead from the EVOS, which amounts to around 5k. So almost everything on the bot lane, almost everything on 𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗏 and B. And they were the standout players last split, of course. In spring, I thought 𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗏 and B looked like the best bot lane for the most part, especially in playoffs. When EVOS decided to play on bot lane, they even challenged 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏. So
I just want to did you spot the gold lead in bot lane when that was up for a moment there?
I was just talking about it.
Oh, I didn't. I know you were talking about. I know you were talking about the matchup. But did you see the gold
Yeah, I
number.
was just
Okay,
pointing out the
I
gold
missed-
lead, by the way.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
Yulwei.
you.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you,
I'm
co-caster.
inting you. I'm inting you. I'm sorry. My ears don't work sometimes.
Yeah, to
Go ahead,
reiterate,
make your point.
2.5k on 𝗃_𝗃, 2k on B. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go.
I'm sorry, Yulwei. Anyway, let's get back into it. Rift Herald still available to be dropped here from 𝘁_CEWN. Is going for the AP Nidalee build, not going towards any supportive items. Where do you think EVOS will hit next? Where do they push the lead?
So there's a dragon conveniently spawning right as you say that. So that's going to be the next objective they take for free. So this will put a lot of pressure on Cerberus. Now they are in the position for the next dragon. They have to decide: do we give up Infernal Soul, or do we try to cross map something, or do we fight for it, even with a 5k deficit? It's not going to be an easy decision. So I'm very interested in the next 5 minutes and how Cerberus approach those. If they just try to get as many items as possible and go for the Hail Mary fight around dragon number 4, or they try to accelerate some of their players with some plays and try to get some kills under the belts, because they know that right now taking a fight is probably not advisable. So this is all around the Dragon Snowball. We are in 2020 after all. This is league meta right now, and even though EVOS is one of the very few 1-3-1 focused teams, I wouldn't say pure 1-3-1 team, but they like to play a lot of side lanes. In this game, they can just go back to the tried and true Dragon Snowball into easy early victory.
Yeah, and they're looking very, very set up to do that. One thing to point out is the top lane matchup is actually equalized. The early lead from 𝗳𝗏, that overly greedy death, perhaps coming back to haunt him, as he's now even with LL. So if they were to meet up in the side lane, it would be a bit of a stalemate, though it is still ranged versus melee, so that's not super fun.
A little bit of a clash in the jungle. 𝘁_CEWN, oh, looked like a flash, but it was just a pounce, I believe. Would you agree if I said EVOS is the greediest team in the league?
Yes.
Because I believe we are just... maybe
Garm
Garm, but it's close between the two, I think, because I think we're just seeing another showcase of that. This Herald could have been used the last 3 minutes in mid lane, but they really do not want to use this Herald to break the turret. 𝘁_CEWN is just sitting on the Herald and waiting for this turret to drop so you can actually pressure tier 2. That's very greedy. I like it. I kind of like it. It took them a few more minutes, but now they get full value out of this Herald, because would have been crashing for less damage than it can do. And now Herald could be used to maybe get pressure around the next dragon. It's almost...
it's not gonna last.
It's not gonna last that long here.
Yeah, he needs to summon it up soon. It actually is getting towards the end of its duration. There it is. He summons it up in the bot lane, and they will try and crack that one
instead of mid lane. That's a little bit surprising to me. I think getting another mid lane turret would be very
and gets
valuable.
barded anyway. Held on to that one for 4 minutes just to get barded.
Yeah, maybe I was just too scared for Bard being around to stop the Herald. So in the end, it ended up happening anyway. But they got their main objective, which is tier 1 mid lane turret. Because now they can advance vision, as we all know. You can already look at the minimap and see the vision line moving further and further into Cerberus territory. And that is going to be a very good setup to go for Dragon. Because right now, Cerberus can go nowhere in their own jungle unseen, especially in the bot side. So, slowly clearing out the wards though. Let's see.
Not all of them though. They will finally spot the other ones. It was a trap as well in there. So they actually have a quadrant clear of vision, but I'm sure EVOS will move back in there at some point and re-establish the vision line to allow 𝗳𝗏 to keep the pressure up. TH in a little bit of trouble, but uses the new blast cone to get away. It's still
Not
a
sure
fairly
what he was doing
recent
there.
addition.
He was just
trying to steal
wandering
the grump
around,
or
just
something.
a little bit bored, I guess, because he's playing tank set, not allowed to build any IED items, so he's just a tanky boy without a lot of agency, getting a little bit bored with this series. Understandably so. I mean, you're 22 minutes in and 1 minute away from the big prize.
You go from playing 𝗂𝗏𝗏 to tank set.
Yeah.
I think he might be a little bit bored. Down in the bot side, we do have a bit of a 1v1. Oh, the long-range Ash Arrow trying to change the fates, and it will, in the end, just be LL getting absolutely smashed because it wasn't a 1v1. B was there, and B is basically a carry.
True. And there was an Ash arrow too. And this time
Yeah.
around, he doesn't actually give the kill over to his support. We saw him give over the kill to 𝗂𝘂𝗧𝗧𝗧 in the mid lane play. This time he wanted it for himself. His stat line looked a little bit weird, so he needed that kill. Very high kill share player, by the way. 𝘂𝑚, of course. You all expect him to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very non-selfish player. Happy to get his other players ahead. Never greedy. 𝘁orn whips an arrow in, but doesn't do much due to Guardian. They are just farming this one out while 𝘂𝑚 dominates the side lane and will move to
17.
another tower.
16. Yeah, it's the death timer right now, counting back. But this is a good pick attempt.
Ooh, they're going to go onto this one, but the shockwave only gets onto TH. 𝘂𝗃 is under threat on the other side, and it was Cerberus that started the play, but it might be
𝘂𝗃𝗃, what are you
EVS that
doing?
ended. 𝘂𝗃𝗃, it doesn't matter. He gets blocked out. Jhin in team fights. XD. That curtain call does nothing. 𝘂𝑚 went down on the other side, but it doesn't matter. It's a 2-for-1.
Just take Dragon. Just take Dragon. You can take... Okay, nice. Yeah. Both sides.
Ooh, teleport.
That's correct.
They're going to make a play out of this one. They're going to go for it. 𝘂𝗃𝗃 didn't reset. He actually just life-stealed up, so they might not expect him to be there. There's the Ash Arrow after the face breaker, and oh god, Cerberus, you are in so much trouble. LL will get onto Ash and take her down, but 𝘁orn v Artemis is only going to go one way.
hello.
LL actually carves up 2. Be there. Can we get another Q? No, we can't. And with these 2 left standing, that will be the Infernal Soul easily secured. Actually, no, it won't. I tell a lie, because Bard is alive, but no ult. He'll pick this up. No ult.
Okay, 𝘂𝗃 is straight up running there. Well, he's probably not going to arrive in time. No, that's it. That's Infernal Soul for EVS. That's so many more kills. Now that should really be the final nail in the coffin. They came very close to closing out the series. 3-0 last game, but this game is a very different story. This game should just be, from the word go, domination from EVS. Early game to mid game.
Look at Jhin. Jhin doesn't do anything.
No, he doesn't. Great pick. Very good Ash counter, by the way. Going down the lane and then not doing anything in team fights either. Good to see. I'd just love to see Jhin lose. Please, people, stop picking this champion. Also, Jhin and Grace in one team is just, they just really didn't want me to back them in this game.
Yeah, Yulwei is very upset with this Cerberus composition. His 2 least favorite champions in professional play.
Yeah,
a champion
most
that
likely.
gets picked that you hate more. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
This is a very good
That red
performance.
buff. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
That red buff belongs to 𝘂𝑚.
Ooh,
As does
there's
this
a
game.
blood ult. The Ash ult came out a bit weirdly late after he got stunned up there, but they are going to get the kill onto 𝘂𝗃𝗃. He's the next target hit by the deadly flourish. There's a good shockwave. Jhin did pick up that kill. TH now bringing LL into the backline. Might be a
Ooh.
mistake. They should be able to kill him, but no. Curtain call comes out. They got the croc, but is that enough? It can't happen again, Yulwei. There can't be another huge throw.
EVS, what are you doing, EVS? Come on. It's so easy to
EVS.
close this game out. But they are going to lose the Baron here. 𝘂𝑚 might answer with a little bit of a bot push, and this could be another inhibitor against Baron trade. We saw that, I believe, in game 3, game 2? Don't remember. One of the games. All games looked the same.
I think.
But yeah, there's another inhibitor for Baron, and inhibitor for EVS, of course, is still nice, but the gold is actually much more important for Cerberus. They closed the gold gap significantly from like 8, almost 10k to down to only,
But this
only
is
5.
great from Cerberus. Cerberus
Yeah, 𝘂𝗏.
recognized their opportunity here.
𝘂𝗏 with a really good engage there on Bard. We know his Bard can be spectacular, and once again, showing us why we thought he was the best Bard player at the start of the season. How does... okay, Renekton just dies to the turret. Unfortunate there. And 𝘂𝑚 gets
5 for
away
1.
after all. But yeah, it's only a 5k gold deficit now. I say only. It's still very significant, especially if you also look at teamfight prowess in terms of
And
champions.
Infernal Soul.
True. But the big carry on the side of Cerberus is now very strong. 𝘂𝗃𝗏, 2 items, 2.5 items in fact, finished boots on top of that, and level 16, so that shockwave is going to hurt and have a very low cooldown. So you can look for aggressive and optimistic shockwaves, and with the cooldown being something like 50, 60 seconds, you can do that very frequently. So
And there is the possibility of an Elder Dragon as well, as Cerberus are in the bush.
That's...
Oh, Zeros says nah! As 𝗁𝗏 will be the first one to go down. They now have to find a way out of this 4v5. Collateral damage gets 𝗂𝗏 away. Artemis, oh god, he took a lot of damage. But EVS only got the 1 kill. That might just be enough to push in this lane.
Can it be another inhibitor for EVS? They are very strong when it comes to sieging.
They're just going to take all. They're taking all the inners. I like it.
It's not a bad decision either. A lot of gold back into their pockets, trying to extend the gold lead and deny the Baron push. More importantly, this Baron hasn't done much. I would like to see a Baron power play. It's probably negative at this point. So
Yes.
it's good for Cerberus to stop the Baron. Of course, Baron would have ended the game straight up for EVS. So it's still a good call. They won the fight. They got the Baron. That's definitely nice and definitely a positive trade for them. But overall, it's not really going to up their chances at winning this game and getting back into the series. They need to win to stay alive in playoffs. This is the elimination game. Back against the wall, and backs are starting to hurt getting pressed this much into a wall. After losing all turrets last game, and now close to losing this game again. Not going to hold up for much longer.
My face is against the floor. Because I think there's a boot pressing down on them. But hey, they might know some martial arts to flip it back around. It's possible, but it's going to be so hard for Cerberus. But to be fair, we said that last game, didn't we?
Absolutely. And I mean, the gold lead wasn't quite as severe, and more crucially, the Dragon Soul actually went Cerberus' way. So now he was as inhibitor and Dragon Soul, and the Dragon Soul is not going to go away. So Cerberus still needs to find some miracles. 1 miracle is probably not enough. They need to get the next 2 big objectives and then really get a big team fight to secure the victory afterwards. But I believe in 50 seconds, we might just decide the series, especially if EVS is able to get the big prize, the big Elder Dragon.
Yeah, Elder Dragon is always a possibility, right? I hate when it spawns, because suddenly the game gets really close when it shouldn't, because an Elder Dragon steal can turn around anything. Speaking of that, 𝗘𝗏𝗺 has to use that flash. And the stopwatch, he's now pretty exposed.
Zeros, you're a mini now. You're pretty squishy. What?
I don't think he meant to bounce there. He meant to jump and use the blast cone.
And look at the timer. 8 seconds. I've seen this before every day. I've seen this before. Oh no. It's a 5-4 on the map. It's not over for EVS. They can fight. They can take a risky fight 5v4. But they kind of have to. They don't want to give up the Elder Dragon. It's not going to be game over. I mean, you can give up Elder Dragon. But it's going to give Cerberus so much power, and probably the Baron on top of that. It's good poke from EVS. Very good poke from Son. Hitting spear after spear.
It's also so dangerous against that comp. Look at the burst damage they can start a fight with. That dragon starts roaring real quick.
And they lost their timing window. Zeros has teleport. He can just come back now with teleport.
Oh, and then just EVS getting straight on it. 6k health. There's that TP.
Might come down to a smite fight.
𝗂𝗏𝗆. You have to get this one. It would be a miracle. But he has to do it. As EVS picked this one up, surely there's no way. And they don't even get close to it. The Bard ult wasn't even used. EVS have secured the biggest buff in the game. B dives on forward. The Dragon has already roared once. It should be 2 momentarily. The shockwave doesn't even go off. And EVS look like they want to charge out of the loser's bracket. Look directly in the eye of the loser of Gump. Oh, who do they play? Team Secret?
No, Team Secret. Team Secret. Next week, Team Secret.
They want to look in the eye of Team Secret. Wow. Doing great there, aren't I? As they push in to end the game. Artemis on Jhin. He's only got 4 shots and 5 people to kill. The towers go down, and this time there will be no miracle on 32nd Street. The no Christmas miracle, but it will be a victory for EVS, and they storm on to Team Secret, who have to be looking a little bit worried.
What a performance. After the last 3 games, where in every single game, you could have said, okay, Cerberus could have won at this point. This game was the only game where you could not see Cerberus win. at any point. Maybe I'd win it 1. Okay, never mind me. After 10 minutes in the game, it was just EVOS all the time. They lost one crucial team fight. They lost one Baron, but it wasn't enough for Cerberus to get back into the game. EVOS quickly kind of came back and definitely found an answer to their earlier mistake. Very good dance around the Elder Dragon there, delaying for Zeros to spawn, and just a very solid finish. They move on to face Team Secret after 3 games that they won, 2 of those which were in very questionable fashion, but I think they can be very happy with the last one here.
I absolutely think so, and of course you will get to keep making your point as we throw over to the analyst desk. Jensen, Vinny, come back in, boys, and wrap us up.
Thank you, every day. Have a good night from all of us, because we will not be seeing you again. However, that is it from EVOS. They have overcome everything, and they have overcome the gates of hell. They have bested Cerberus. They are saying we deserve to be in that winner's bracket, and now they are up against Team Secret. But before that, Jensen, take us through that final game. It was start to finish, pretty much EVOS the whole way. You are still muted, my friend.
I'm hard running it on this one, but I would like to make a missing person report, because at the start of the series, I looked at the rosters and I felt that Yaddle is going to show up in the series, right? Mid difference was going to be a factor. The other factor that I thought was going to be playing as well is Artemis versus 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏. But today is not what I was seeing. Was not Artemis. It was a paid actor playing in the position of Artemis. Somebody else playing instead. Maybe he showed up in the first game when they got the solo queue bot side, but I think as a whole, 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗏 really outclassed Artemis in all 4 games that we played, and I think that this being a bot side versus top side series, the bot side component of it from CES didn't really come true, and all those US just running it down. If Artemis did show up, if he was getting leads in the bottom side of the map, then you would see EVOS and Zeros as extremely reckless, extremely careless plays that will be punished a lot more heavily.
Yes, but unfortunately fortunately for EVOS, they were able to get away with Zeros kind of having his moments, and it's good that you did touch on that ADC difference in the game, because we have given our player of the series to 𝗘𝗀𝗏𝗏, despite the mishap in Game 3, which honestly should probably have disqualified him. But
well, I mean,
either way.
Everything else, apart from that one moment where he was trying to style a little bit too much, maybe wanted to be Zeros a little bit too much, looked up to his top laner and said, ha, I can be stylish too, I can be M2. Then he bammed a little bit too much and lost the game. But everything before that, the 2 Aphelios games were immaculate, very, very strong performances. And this last one, Ashe, he wasn't the main carry in my opinion, but he definitely had some very nice arrows and stayed safe in team fights. Knew when to flash and use stopwatch to not die. So very strong performance from 𝗘𝗀𝗏𝗏, and I'm happy to see him back in solid form come playoffs.
That he did, and that they are very much back. Well, that is us for round 1. But before we go, Jensen, tell us a bit about yourself and where people can find more of your work.
At this point of time, I'm doing a short YouTube series that's exploring what the offseason is going to be looking like for teams all across the world. Who finishes 3rd, so whoever who has the unfortunate experience of just missing out on Worlds from VCS, will probably get a shout out from me, and I'll do an episode on the VCS featuring the 3rd place team in this entire bracket run.
So the loser, the winner of EVOS against Team Secret, because they are not going to win against the loser of Flash against 𝗀 then.
No, you never know. I think EVOS at this point of time, if they make a few right changes, if 𝗁𝗏𝗏 keeps up with his great read on the meta and they keep running this anti-meta style, I think EVOS, they definitely have a chance of making it to Worlds.
Okay.
They definitely have the potential for the upset, as if they just need to pick up Smarties, obviously. But
they need a mid laner, to be honest.
They need a mid laner. But So yes, check that out and keep an eye out for spring, where Jensen will probably be on a winning team again as the coach. So keep your eye out. As for us, you can follow our social media. You can join our community in Discord. You can maybe, if you're feeling generous, donate a little bit, and we can hopefully fix some of the issues that we had today. Links for all that are down below. But that is it from us. Have a good night, and we will be seeing you next week.
away.